Okay, fine. I'm here. I'm not. I'm not far. I'm not running away.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE. Welcome back to the channel that does the stupidity what I normally do to my schedule. So we were going to be having a debate with a guy called John tonight. However, John thought that I was trying to scam him and didn't turn up. So at very short notice, someone that commented on his page asked if they'd like to take his place, and very kindly they have. I haven't even asked this lady's name. I feel incredibly rude. What should I call you?
Laëtitia.
Laëtitia.
My name is Laëtitia. I'm French actually.
Yeah, bonjour. Thank you for joining the stream. I do appreciate you taking John's place at short notice.
Yeah, it's a bit incongruous, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Let's go on.
yeah, thank you very much. So I hold the position that the Earth is a sphere in space, and that that's an objectively easy thing to verify. Could you just tell everyone what position you hold?
Well, I don't think objectively you can verify that we are first in space and second a sphere.
Okay.
In the course of human history, Earth has always been known to be without motion, to be something special apart from the sky things, from the lights witnessed in the sky above head. And so even the term planet to describe Earth is quite recent in the history of language and man.
Right. Okay. What have I told you that the ability to measure the motion of Earth is easily available? If you say that Earth is still, how is it that we can measure the motion of the Earth?
You may measure something which you conclude to be the motion of Earth below our feet. But you have maybe to have more to take into account more historical and even experiences and yourself into account, because we are also capable biologically to notice whether we are at rest or in movement, in motion.
Okay. Now, when I say that we can measure the motion of the Earth, I'm not being hyperbolic. That is quite an easy thing to do. Have you heard of fiberoptic gyroscopes, for instance?
Yeah, a simple mechanical gyroscope
No, no,
without
not
going
a
into
mechanical
a
gyroscope.
laser.
A light-based gyroscope that doesn't have the confines of things like friction.
Of course, I've heard of this kind of gyroscope. It doesn't mean that the conclusion stating that Earth below our feet is in fact in motion to be held true. You know what I mean? I
Well,
mean, there are also other experiences which we can confront to just one example taken apart, such as the gyroscope, as you mentioned.
okay, so
That can contradict the conclusions you wish to come to. You know.
okay, so the thing about a gyroscope is there is only one conclusion that can come from it, and if you're looking at what a gyroscope does from an objective standpoint, that is register movement of what it is on. So if we have a gyroscope that is on the Earth and it is showing that the Earth is moving, what other conclusion could we draw from that?
You can draw other conclusions, such as that we are in an enclosed environment, and it is ruled by other forces, which we know about as well, which are electromagnetic forces. So these forces, electromagnetic, have been studied by outside of mainstream philosophy, because it's just a theory that we would be in motion, turning about ourselves, rotating, and also around the sun. But the sun, any kid can go outside and witness the sun go above head from east to west.
Yeah.
So I understand the great controversy regarding the whole heliocentered, not heliocentric, because the barocenter, it's slightly off center. The sun is not.
Yeah, that's correct. The barycenter of the solar system is about 2 million miles away from the center of the sun.
Yeah, hypothetically.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, again, these are things that we can measure. And it's all good and well thinking hypothetically, but when you
measure, no, but that's not the correct term, because measuring it would be with a ruler and you go measure the thing, yeah?
No, you can use many tools to measure something. You don't have to just use a ruler. You can measure many things. You can measure time. You can't measure time with a ruler. You need a specific tool to measure time.
That's it, and that's a man-made tool, which is called the clock. But it's just the basis.
So is a ruler, right?
To give you, it's not always been calculated. Time passing was not always calculated with the 360-degree watch and divided in 12 hours and 24 hours.
No, you're right. I mean,
in the course of history, you know,
the particular units that we put time into are a man-made device, and I mean, when you look at what the second is, when you break it down into milliseconds and everything, it's based on the Planck length and stuff. But you know, it's a way for us to measure the passage of time. So it's a tool that we have to use a stopwatch or a clock to measure the passage of time. But it doesn't mean that to measure the distance to the sun, you would have to use a ruler. There's other tools that we can use to do that measurement.
Like mathematics.
Mathematics is a very good tool
to make in the case of the heliocentered model, to make hypothetical measurements based on a lot of hypotheses at the beginning, to begin with.
Yeah, but all the hypotheses have been verified by experimentation, and that's where we need to start with a basis from. And that's why I was trying to get to the point of what if we know how a fiber optic gyroscope works, then we can reach a conclusion based on that. So you and I both know that when
you base it on other assumptions.
What
it's like going back in history and calling onto Eratosthenes,
yeah,
who postulated first thing that Earth may be a sphere, but other philosophies postulate that the Earth has no motion and start from there.
Okay.
So I don't see what the problem is.
The thing is, okay. So the point I was trying to make about
studies are interesting to look into as well, contradicting the model accepted by consensus.
Okay.
But never truly based on.
Well,
On the lessons of the past,
let's
you know?
let's focus on something physical that we can get behind, and that is the function of a gyroscope and the way that it actually works. If we know how something works, then we know what it's going to do. Do you know how a fiber optic gyroscope measures movement?
Yeah, I told you it could be, it's like the Foucault pendulum. It
No, no,
could
no,
be due
no.
to other forces such as electromagnetism.
No,
And you can,
that's part of the point. A fiber optic gyroscope uses light, which would not be affected by electromagnetism, because light doesn't have a charge. Light's charge is zero. It's not positive.
yeah, maybe
It's
you
not
can
neutral.
compare it with various instruments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Albert
You can. There's a lot more instruments to compare it with, but the actual function of a fiber optic gyroscope is very important.
Michelson was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1907 for his various optical instruments, and light was in play as well.
A
So
lot. Are you talking about
you
like
can't come
are you talking about
with a
Mikeson
rather
Morley and stuff like
modern
that? Yeah.
instrument like the laser gyroscope today, and obliterate any other instrument contradicting the point you wish to make to defend a theoretical model in the end.
Okay, so I think what's important is to understand actually how a light-based gyroscope measures rotation. All right, can you just bear with me for 1 second while I show you this? Right. You should see that my screen now. You see that?
No, I don't even see yourself actually. I
If you
just
click on my box, it should have a video, a blue and white thing in it. If you click on my box in the corner, it should bring that up.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Right. Okay. So this is how a fiber optic gyroscope works. That blue box fires a laser. Okay, and when it hits that diagonal white line, it splits the laser into two paths. Now, if the gyroscope isn't moving, so if it's on something that is stationary, the time that the light takes to travel the two paths will be exactly the same. And when the light recombines, it will show that there's no interference in the light. However, if the gyroscope is physically moving, what happens is it reduces the time that the light takes to travel one of the paths. Meaning that when the light recombines, getting back to the laser, it will show up as an interference in the light waves. And you can measure that interference as a drift, in rotational drift. And every single one of these gyroscopes in the world, as soon as you turn them on, they instantly start registering that there is a movement with no external forces being applied to it. And it's a self-contained unit. It can't see the sky. It's not aware of anything else around it. Okay, it purely.
You just stated that you have to give it the motion yourself
No,
as
yeah, well,
soon as you
that's just
start them.
demonstrating. That's just demonstrating that if it is moving, that's what you will show. But when you turn these gyroscopes on in real life, you don't. You automatically see that they show that they're moving. You don't have to move them. You could just put them on the floor in front of you, and they will show that they are moving at 15 degrees per hour, which is what we say the Earth rotates. And there's nothing else that the gyroscopes can be registering. It can't see what's outside of the unit. It can't be any electromagnetic interference because it uses light, which doesn't have a charge. So if the Earth is stationary,
statement, yeah?
no, that's a fact.
An allegation.
Light doesn't have a charge. Light is zero. It's not positive. It's not neutral. Light is just no charge, which means it wouldn't be affected by electromagnetic interference.
I don't agree.
Why don't you agree?
We have no proof because we have no proof of that.
Oh no, we absolutely have. The fact that light is neutral in its charge has been proven many times. Otherwise, you could bend light just by putting a magnet near it. And you can't do that. So the question has to be answered.
You can do it with. I've seen recently experiences from, I forgot his name, but a split in a wooden plate.
Are you talking about a what are they called, the cell team? You
Double
there?
slit. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Laëtitia, this is my
Yep.
friend Team Skeptic. Team Skeptic, this is Laëtitia, the stand-in for John.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
it's good. I really appreciate the fact that she could join in. Do you have anything to add to what I'm saying?
Yeah, just a small thing to add. Is it okay if I call you Letty? It'd be easier for me to call you that. If not, I'll try to get the other one right. Okay. All right, Letty. The easy way to think of it is if you had a magnet, right? And you tried to put both sides of the magnet together, the magnet repels each other, right?
Mhm.
So if light was charged, then as light approached itself, it would repel itself. The same way that protons repel other protons, electrons repel other electrons. Things that have similar charges repel each other. So if light was to come into, if you turned on two flashlights, for instance, pointing at each other, the beams of light would literally go towards each other and then bend back away from each other, because they would repel each other. Now, I think when you're talking about the slit in the wood, you're talking about the double slit experiment. Is that correct?
Yeah. I forgot the name of the guy who experimented this.
Well, yeah, there's been a lot of people that have done a double slit experiment, but I'm pretty familiar with it. Yeah, go ahead. What was your question about it or your comments about it?
Well, it's proving that light is not necessarily a constant, like it was decided after the Einstein revolution.
Okay, well, light is a constant. That is one of the things that
That's a quick statement because
okay, so
you can do a lot of things with light.
The body of physics is primarily based around certain constants that are not changing, non-changing constants. One of them is the speed of light. Another one is the gravitational constant. Another one is Coulomb's constant, I believe is it might be called another constant. The electric
consensus,
Maxwell's constant,
by scientific consensus. I agree.
Right.
But
So a constant is really a constant is just a way of quantifying a certain amount of something. So for instance, if you say how many feet are in a mile, right? Well, you're quantifying a mile by saying it's a certain number of feet. You're saying a foot is going to represent a certain amount, and how much of this certain amount is in a mile. So a constant is your quantification. So when we say there's 5,280, I think it is, feet in a mile. I could be wrong. 5,280, I believe is what it is. But when we say there's 5,280 feet in a mile, well, the feet really becomes the constant there. It's what helps you get between your measuring, your measuring of something to, the total amount of what you're measuring. So the gravitational constant really just helps us quantify the gravitational field
just to
and gravitational
give you an example,
forces.
You presume, for example, that the sun is located some 150 million kilometers away from Earth, okay? And you calculate it by saying it takes 8 minutes to come to light Earth. Because it is located 150, which you cannot verify, and which you can observe.
So yes, you can verify that.
When you're going outside and look at how it behaves. It's available for anyone to go outside, isn't it?
Are you familiar with trigonometry?
Sure.
Okay, so would you say that trigonometry is true? It's simply talking about triangles and circles and whatnot. So would you agree that trigonometry is sound?
It is correct. Trigonometry.
Okay, great.
Is correct.
So if we can use the position of Venus, and we can use trigonometry to determine the distance to the sun, what is your problem with that?
Already a lot of speculation because you assume that it's this far.
No, we use trigonometry. We use trigonometry. We don't make any assumptions. We use trigonometry.
Because I am also aware of my own self. I can't possibly see anything placed that far. My eyes are limited,
No, they're not. No, they're not.
yes, they are.
Well, what is
You
it limiting?
presume, you
What, hold
assume that
on. No,
light
no, no,
is
no. Do
very
you
far,
think,
but it's close
right,
to you.
right. So
Otherwise, you would not see it.
how do you think an object in the distance is limited to your eyes? How do you think your eyes limit you from seeing the planet Venus, for instance? Because we see the planet Venus. It's one
Me,
of the brightest objects
children,
in the
my-
sky, and you yourself can see this. So,
so
uh,
the eyesight, the human eyesight,
okay.
you
So you're
you are
saying the
capable of
photon.
seeing a circle around yourself, a 360-degree circle around your own self, but you have to
Yeah, but
move your
what's the
head
limiting
to
factor,
see
though?
the circle.
What
No.
You
stops
have
us
to
Okay.
seeing
turn
any
around
further?
yourself. When your sight is fixed, when you're looking at a point, a fixed point, it's only reduced to a cone leading to a vanishing point. A
Okay.
cone from
All
your
right.
eyes, 120 degrees of opening close to your eyes, leading to a vanishing point, a cone of vision, you know? So
Okay.
you
So,
can't see as far as Venus is pretended with trigonometry
why can't you?
to be this far. Because you
You
can't
still,
see. After
you
this
just,
cone is
yes,
finished,
I
you
understand
see
that,
nothing.
Letty. Listen, I understand that you say that you can't see it, but if the object is bright enough, what is keeping you from seeing
They
it?
are not
No matter how
They are
far away,
not objects, they are lights.
if
Why
no
do you
matter,
call them objects?
do you have any proof? Do you have any proof? Because we can pull out a telescope and see it.
The telescope is not telling you
Astrophotography,
if it's
astrophotography
something
is a
of
thing.
texture. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
astrophotography
You
is a
don't do
thing.
that.
Would you like
Yeah,
to
you-
see
And
a photo of the sun that
the
one of my
telescope
friends has
is
taken?
going to
okay.
work
Well,
on the same
then Letty,
principle as the
Letty, let me
human
ask you this question
eyesight.
then, Letty. Letty, let me ask you this question then, okay? Because we can use our cosmological model to predict
Angular.
when. Hold on, hear me out. We can use our cosmological model to predict when Venus will, from our perspective, move in front of the sun. It's called the Venus traversal of the sun. Now, we can use our model to predict when this is going to happen and where it's going to happen at, and we can train our telescopes to witness this event. If Venus is just a light in the sky, how is it crossing in front of the sun and blocking out a portion of the sun, which is measurable, by the way? How is this possible?
Because they are not only lights, but they are images. So an image can cross another image.
Where's your proof of this? I mean, this is a lot of speculation. You're just saying a lot
This
of
is
things
the
like
proof that you're
we
posting.
actually
This
can
is just
predict
the
this.
proof you've just posted. I'm just
Okay,
explaining to you what this
so
is. So
so
you
look,
allegedly say, my eyes can see forever, nearly,
they
anything
can.
that is lighted.
Yeah, they can see
My
forever.
eyes can see.
There's no
Yeah.
as
I
long
have
as
a
the object is bright enough.
biological
As
limit
long as the object,
as
no,
well as
you do
the
not. It's not a limit of distance. It's a limit. You're not limited by distance. You're limited by the number of photons that your photon receptors or your eyes can process and
And
consider a process.
and
you're taking the
I did a bit
problem
of
the other way
study.
around.
I
It's
did a bit
not
of study on this
your
recently,
eyes
Letty, if I could.
receiving, it's your eyes that has a limit first, and take this into account as a
No,
first
no.
step.
I,
You're inverting the process
Letty,
by stating that
Letty,
whichever
if I
the
could,
distance, the distance the objects are located, I can see it because it's the number of photons that come into my eye. But my eye,
Photon.
I don't take into account that it's limited. First thing, I mean,
oh,
I only see if I fix my vision somewhere onto a point, I see only a cone. It's a cone of vision, and it's limited to a maximum distance.
okay, Letty, if I could, the thing you're saying about eyesight is incorrect. Light comes to our eyes because light travels.
That's what you learned at school.
No, no, we know that light travels. There's entire sectors of industry based around it.
Yes, and
We couldn't be talking the way that we are right now if we
we also
didn't
know
understand how
our
light
vision is
travels.
limited. and you
Yeah.
can't see forever.
No, no, that's the thing. As long as, and I did a bit of study on this recently, and as long as there
Very
is
good.
7 individual photons hitting your eye, you will be able to see light. Now, that means as long as light is traveling towards you, you will be able to see the light. There isn't a limit as to how far light can travel. So if light travels forever and you see that light, the light hits your photon receptors in your eyes, that means that you can see forever, however long the light has traveled. You don't
Big
have a limit to your
statement.
vision.
I'm not
And when
agreeing.
you say about limit to your vision, within our atmosphere, there can be limiting factors because of the atmospheric haze or whatever, and
Yeah.
people's eyesight can be a limiting factor. You know, if you have problems seeing, then you're just going to see a blur rather than a pinpoint light. But it's a fact that light travels. And because light travels and we have photon receptors, we can see however far the light has traveled. Pardon me.
Yes, and it doesn't mean that it's very far either.
But you disagreed with me that
All
trigonometry
the
is
mean,
sound.
all
But
of lights
Letty,
in the sky are
But
close
Letty,
to you.
you just agreed with me that trigonometry is sound. Now, observational science, I mean observations, when we go out and we make observations of the planet Venus and the sun and its traversal and all of these things that we can see from the surface of Earth, we would either have to do, hold on,
That they
we
are
would,
objects.
but hold on, we would have to either redefine trigonometry or we would have
No,
to
I don't
accept
agree.
that the
No.
planet is up there and the sun is 93 million miles away. Those are the two
You-
things that you would have to come to.
You
Those are the only
assume
conclusions.
what is witnessed above head are objects, physical objects. You assume planets are objects,
They
and
are.
you assume Earth is
They
also a planet.
They are. We've landed on
Well,
Mars.
you can
We put a rover on
you
Mars.
can
We've
assume
put
it all you like,
put
but
humans on the
they are
moon.
not
They
they
are
are not
objects.
anything else
You can
than light.
deny
can't
that they're an
prove-
object, Letty, but that's
You
on
can't
you.
prove
That's
it. I
not my
deny
problem.
because you can't prove it.
They've sent
But you
they
can
sent a
prove
rover
that
to
your
Mars.
vision
Yeah,
is
they sent a
limited
hey,
and you
they
can't
sent
see
a
very
rover to
far.
Mars. How much more proof do you need? They sent a rover to Mars and landed it there. The Russians, I believe, sent a probe to Venus and landed it there.
We know someone personally who has been part of the Indian missions to send stuff to the moon. Unless he was lying to us about what he does, and he's lying, people are paying him millions and millions of dollars for no apparent reason, then we have landed things on those lights in the sky, which means they're physical objects.
Yeah, that's the narrative, of course.
What about the radio technology that we now have, where we can measure the distance using radar to Venus? What are they measuring if they're not measuring a planet?
They might be measuring a distance. Anyways, you're giving your distance in which unit?
I didn't give
When you use the radio technology.
Miles or kilometers would be all right with me. I don't mind miles or kilometers. Either one you can say, and I can.
I work in miles normally.
Yeah, miles is all right, but regardless.
But regardless, yeah, you're transforming light years into miles or kilometers.
That's what
it.
they are. That's what they are.
Do you know how
Yeah,
many? Do you know how many
they are.
miles 1 light year is?
That's just an assumption. You can't prove that.
Yes, we can.
Right.
Yes, we can. We mathematically predicted the speed of light using Maxwell's equations. Then we tested the speed of light with the exact same person that you're talking about, the 1907 Nobel Prize winner. Remember that you brought up, Albert Michelson, or I believe it was Michelson that won it that year. Guess why he won it? Because he was developing and inventing precise equipment that was able to detect the speed of light. Okay, we know
which
the speed of
false,
light is.
because you
This is
couldn't
the person
measure
you brought up,
any
and the
movement.
Nobel Prize you brought up, by the way.
So you have, I can sense that you have a lot of assumptions.
Well, you're assuming, no, you're making an assumption that Venus is a light in
anyone
the sky.
can witness.
You're just making an assumption that Venus is a light in the sky. Why are you being so disingenuous? We've measured it with radar. That means we bounced off an object that was up there measured the time that it took the signal to get back to us. And
Your explanation is very into the narrative, but it doesn't mean that it's the truth. I
It doesn't mean it's a lie either. You don't have any proof that it's a lie.
Anything that they tell you, that
you're a denialist. You just deny anything that doesn't.
Denial. No. It's not denial. Because I know about radar technology, and I search in this field as well. So you can't tell me that the radar is bouncing all these miles or kilometers or light years even.
Yes, we measure the radar.
No, because the radar has a limit as well.
No, it does not. I mean, yes, okay, it does,
yes,
but the limit is not Venus is within its limit. Yes, it has a minimum amount that it can receive back. Yes, I agree with you on that. That's detectable. But the radar that they're using is able to measure a signal.
Between the two world wars in 33, I believe, 34, I believe, with Robert Watt, who he took the experiments from people preceding him and perfectioned the technology of the radar. So you can't tell me that radars are going that far and back.
One sec, Lottie.
You know?
Team,
it's just your belief in this.
Lottie, one sec.
There is no proof that the lights everyone can witness in the sky, how they behave, how they.
Lottie. One sec.
Yes, sure. I'm listening.
Team, do you want to tell Lottie what it was you did in the Navy?
Yes, I was a radar technician in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what I worked on and worked with was actual radars.
Do you not think he knows how radars work, considering that was
they work in straight lines.
No, they don't work in straight lines. Are you kidding me? Why do you think a radar can see? Okay, like when you're on top of when a radar is trying to look for an airplane that's coming in, for instance, right? Does the radar scan up and down as it moves left to right, or does it just kind of turn left to right and scan a particular field of view? The field of view is determined by the radar shape, okay? And there's different types of radars. There's omnidirectional radars. There's unidirectional radars. There's all different types of radars, okay? So it's all determined by the shape of the radar, the shape of the transmitter, and then the power of the radar, for instance. Because if you put in more power into the radar, you're going to get a greater signal return that's easier to measure. So when we're measuring stuff like Venus, all we have to do is make sure that our radars, that we're using the right kind of transmitter, okay, and we're also using enough power. If we have those two things, we meet those two requirements, then we can bounce a radar wave off of an object, wait for it to come back, use the time that it took to get there, divide that by 2, multiply that by the speed of light, and then there you go. You have your distance.
So no assumptions there.
Yeah, you've made a nice use of an equation, which is based on assumptions.
An equation that gives us
regarding light.
An equation that gives us valid predictions.
And
yes, Maxwell's equation.
Another thing I can tell you is that, of course, something is going to bounce off of something because we are in an enclosed system.
No, we're not.
You're bouncing your laser or different.
You're making an assumption again. And
besides,
why do
you're talking about the object Venus, but Venus is a light. It's not an object. It's
that's what you say, but you have no proof of that.
Why do you think we're in an enclosed system? What you think? There's a dome above us?
Because it's not You call it dome, but it's not really the
firmament, whatever you like.
It's just like saying the Earth is flat. I don't agree with the term used. It's not flat. It's motionless. It doesn't have any movement. And
but you say there's a container above us, right?
It's balanced. It's not flat. It's balanced, and it doesn't have any motion. It's immobile. Okay. Motionless.
You said that we're in a contained system, so you think there is a container or something above us.
Yes.
Why do you say that?
It's called the firmament. It's
why
because we are in a pressurized system.
No, we're not.
It can't be to the open.
Wait, we're not in a pressurized system. A
Well, it
pressurized
comes in layers. So
no,
the
a
upper,
pressurized system actually needs to have a uniform density. That's one of the
no,
provisos
not
of gas. No,
necessarily. I
no.
don't agree. No,
If you look up what a gas pressure is, gas pressure has a
they
uniform density.
certain
But
gases. I
what
don't agree. Certain gases don't mix. There are heavy gases, heavier than oxygen. The oxygen we breathe, and there are
yeah,
less
cool.
dense,
So why are we all not suffocating
dense
in a band of
gases
carbon
which go up.
dioxide?
Sorry.
Why are we not all suffocating in a band of carbon dioxide, which is a lot denser and heavier than oxygen?
Well, it's enclosed, but it's got a system of winds. It's renewed every time, like all the water systems.
Yeah, no, a renewal cycle would not
It's
explain
renewed,
a uniform gradient.
Yes, can I interrupt for 1 second, Letty? I would just like you to picture what I'm about to say. Okay, let's say you fill up a bathtub with water. Okay, and let's say the hot water starts to go out towards the end of your bathtub, so you have more hot water on bottom than you do on top. In other words, we're talking about kind of like different densities, different layers of water. Now, if you take your hand in there and you mix it around, you rub your hand around like wind would be doing, what would happen? Would it evenly distribute the heat throughout the system? Or would it, would it cause it to be like completely separate into bands? Would it stay separate into bands?
I don't think your example is quite representative and can be taken as a comparison to
Yes.
where we live.
No. Think about the pressure going up, okay? The air pressure going up. If you have lower pressure on bottom where there's a denser part of the air, and you're talking about it's just winds that are mixing stuff around and keeping all the carbon dioxide from settling at the bottom, then why don't we have a uniform pressure throughout the system based on the winds mixing them up? The same way we would have a uniform heat, uniform energy inside of the system of the bathtub when you mix your hand in it.
I don't know how to explain it well, but since we are we have an interaction between we have a electrical magnetic interaction between the electric bodies, but they are not physical, the luminaries, all the lights of the sky, and interacting with the Earth magnetism, which is bipolar, with a north and south polarity. And the fact that the movement is from the east to the west, they are rolling along the whole Earth below, and this interaction between Earth magnetism and the electrics, and it's difficult to explain. I have it in mind, but I'm trying
Okay, but still that doesn't explain
to
why.
There is also a whole mechanism to take
But
care
that doesn't
of
explain our pressure gradient. That doesn't explain why we don't see when you mix around when you use the air or the wind to mix around the air, why we don't see a uniform pressure gradient, a uniform atmosphere all the way to the top of our dome or whatever.
There is also all the water system drainage. It's not limited to liquid water. It's got to do with the different states of water, and the water system is also taken care of by the wind patterns coming from above.
What causes those wind patterns?
Openings from
Well, that's another
openings
question,
to the south and to the north.
Right. Lottie,
It's not mixing up. You're
the
thinking
point
that,
is that
it should. No, it shouldn't. You shouldn't say it should do this if, because we are taking things as they are. I mean, we are all
what you're
the
saying shouldn't
earth,
happen, because
you know.
what team and my point is that we have a uniform gradient that goes from 14.7 psi
Roughly,
to
it's not.
up to
It's not
It's not a
uniform. I
non-uniform.
mean,
It's a
the
percent gradient.
sorry, yeah,
different
non-uniform
levels
grade. When I
of
say
elements.
a uniform grade, yeah, sorry, I meant a non-uniform grade. You know, it goes from 14.7 psi, and the higher up you get, the lower it goes. Right? That's
Yeah.
indisputable. But and that doesn't change. No matter on the weather conditions, they can have the strongest winds, right? And that is not going to change the fact that the pressure decreases as you go up in altitude. No matter how strong the wind is, you're still going to have a pressure gradient as you go up.
Mm-hmm.
So that can't be the reason.
Supposedly,
So
in the system you wish to
need,
defend,
yeah,
supposedly,
but then you
until
need to
you have
explain what
none,
happened. You
and
need to explain why that happens. You need to explain why there's that gradient. Because there isn't an explanation for it with just it all mixing up. But on our model, with gravity, there is an explanation. You have to have a force for the gradient to be a thing. You can't have that
you have
without a
to.
vector.
You have to, because you don't take into account the fact that there is a firmament.
No, the firmament wouldn't give the gas a vector. All the particles in our
You know,
atmosphere
it's
have a direction,
crucial
right?
element, the firmament, because it's allowing you to see images, to see the images you wish to tell me they are
That's
so
that's
far
nothing to
away.
do.
The sun is
That,
an image.
Lottie, that's nothing to do
You
with
have
the gradient that our atmosphere has, which is the main point
two
here.
images of the sun inside.
Yeah, but that's
There are
nothing.
images. The moon is an image.
Yeah, but that's
All the
nothing.
planets,
Okay.
all the
No,
planets,
it's
the ones,
not.
the
Oh,
small
that's
planets,
all
and
irrelevant. It's
with
nothing to
the
do with
so
the fact that we have
they
a
are
gradient.
also
You
images.
saying it doesn't make it true,
They
Leonard.
look solid, but they are not where they are not located physically where you think they are.
Then where are they located at?
Farther above,
And you
within
have proof of this?
the
Hold on,
structure.
hold on, hold on. Do you have proof of this? Any evidence to suggest that what you're saying is correct? Then why should I believe it?
It's difficult. I know it's difficult to prove with actual. I mean, I know there are winds coming from the north and the south, for example, from above, but I cannot physically prove it. I mean, I'm not going.
Why do you
into
believe
the
it then?
sky,
Then
they
why do you
sound.
believe it? Then why do you believe it? If we can show you evidence and all you've done so far is just to say, no, no, no. Everything you've said so far is just lights in the sky. Say, no, we've measured Venus with a radar technology. No, no, it's a light in the sky. No, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Lottie, hold on.
Hear my logic out. Hear my logic out. We have all this evidence that supports our postulate. Okay, you come through and you say, no, 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 all that's false because they're all lights in the sky. There's the moon is really up with the Father. And I say, what's the evidence you have of that? And you don't have any.
I didn't say it's false. I said that you believe because of the postulate, because of the model, but really, can you
It
prove
gives
that?
predictions. Yes, it gives predictions. So way it works,
doesn't
so
say the whole model.
In science, we can consider, in science, we can consider the heliocentric model a model because it offers predictions. But because we can consider it a model, it must also be falsifiable. So that means that, let's say, according to our model, we're supposed to have a solar eclipse that happens on a certain day at a certain time over a certain portion of the Earth. Now, if that solar eclipse doesn't occur or it doesn't happen at all, then we know one thing, that model does not give valid predictions. Everything that we're giving you tonight comes with a valid, predictable, and falsifiable model, meaning that whether you're in the position to do it or not, someone else who is qualified is in the position to invalidate the model. We don't have to say, just believe me because I don't have evidence or I don't have proof, but you got to believe me. We can give you the evidence that you yourself can either
No,
verify
you don't
and
have to believe
validate.
me. Or no, you don't have to believe me. Of course not.
But you don't
I
give any
invite
evidence.
you
Why
not
should I
to
believe you?
believe
Tell me
me.
something, Letty. Why should I believe you? Put yourselves
I
in my
invite
shoes.
you not to believe me, but don't force me to believe what you believe in it.
Right.
Nobody's
Because I
forcing
have
you to do anything.
my
No
first-hand
one's right. Yeah, no
experience.
one's trying to force you to
I
believe
know
anything, Lottie.
for a fact that Earth is it has no motion. So that's my way.
Okay.
But we can measure the motion. We went through that. We can measure the motion,
My
so we
eyes
know there's
still see
motion.
the star as millions of light years
Letty,
away.
evaluate that comment you just made. I know
Mhm.
for a fact that the Earth does not move. Now,
Mhm.
I don't care about the second part.
It
That
can be
it does
proven
not
as
move.
well.
Hold on. How did you come to the conclusion that you know for a fact?
Combining different experiments that have been made.
Like what? Name one experiment that shows the Earth doesn't move.
You have to combine them. It's a thought process with logic, and you have
Combine
to take
them. I mean, when you say
yourself
them, can you
into
give
account as
me
well.
like maybe
You are
3
not
experiments?
outside of the system you want
Every
to
experiment ever
describe.
to try and detect motion has detected motion.
Sorry.
Every experiment like ever that was designed to detect motion has detected motion. I mean, for goodness
Well,
sake,
that's a lie. I'm sorry.
Bob Nadell
Not the
detected
truth.
motion.
You're lying here.
Michelson Morley's entire experiment was based on the known fact that the Earth orbited the Sun and would therefore be at different places in its orbit
No.
when they did the experiment.
Assumed presumption, not known fact.
No, their experiment would have worked if the Earth wasn't rotating around the Sun. It wouldn't have made any sense. And if the Earth isn't moving, then you need to do things like explain the Coriolis effect, explain the Optvos effect.
Yeah, sure.
Go on, explain the Coriolis effect. Explain the fact that things deflect ahead of rotation when fired north of the equator.
Mm-hmm.
Why does that happen if the Earth's flat and motionless?
Because the motion of the sun, the moon, and the wanderers, the planets, from east to west.
What does that have to do with a fiberoptic gyro showing 15
creating
degrees?
an electric pattern east to west.
No, that doesn't make sense because all materials
And
drift with the same amount of force. So what you're saying immediately doesn't make sense
they're
because
moving
different
east
materials
to
have
west
different electromagnetic forces. So
on a daily basis. They're moving east to west
yeah,
on
but
a daily basis,
that
and
doesn't
then
matter.
throughout the year, they're moving between the tropics, from the north to the south,
And that does
passing
not explain the
the
Coriolis
equator.
force.
And actually, the equator is what's cutting the Earth. The Earth is in two halves, to have north and south. So maybe you have in your head an erroneous model. You're thinking maybe about the. I
Well,
was
no,
talking to
if our model
Greg.
was erroneous, you'd be able to falsify it, but no one ever can.
Sorry.
If our model was erroneous, you'd be able to falsify it, but it's never been falsified. Our model makes accurate predictions all the time. Our model works. There isn't a flat Earth model.
Yeah, according to your word, I don't have to believe you either, do I? Most predictions
Lottie,
regarding
facts don't
eclipses,
care if you believe them or not.
regarding
Facts don't care.
regarding
No,
motion
wait.
of the
Facts don't
planet,
care if you
all
believe them
these
or not.
predictions were made far off in the history of mankind by people who were true astrologers.
Not
They
as
were
accurate as they are now, that's for sure.
they were doing It doesn't matter.
Oh, it does.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you are more right than them. They were already predicting all these things.
Yeah, but they never had an
with
explanation for it.
motionless
Right,
Earth. They
Lottie,
knew
you're missing
what
the point. You're missing the point, right? The thing is, they never had an explanation for what happened. All they did was say, right, we see a pattern and we can make predictions based on that pattern. They never had an explanation for what happened. Whereas we have a model which not only makes predictions but explains
you
those.
only
No, wait,
believe-
I haven't finished. It not only makes predictions, but it explains those predictions. And there is nothing about the flat Earth or ancient history that can explain why those predictions are accurate. But our model
Maybe
can.
you haven't been paying enough attention.
No, trust me, I've
Maybe you
paid a lot of
haven't
attention.
looked into
This is Flat
the
Earth
right
Debate 157,
path or the
I
correct
believe.
documents or right direction. You can't state there is nothing. That's a lie.
We can't state there's what?
There is nothing.
There is no evidence the Earth's flat, that's for sure.
I never said it was flat. That's your word, and maybe
No, it's not.
you just
Well,
focus
whether you want to
on
call
the
it flat
fact
or
that,
motionless, you don't believe
many
it's a
people
sphere.
use this term to describe the
So-
same place we share.
So Letty, may I ask you a question? May I ask you a question? Look, so we have multiple observers in the southern hemisphere that every night can look due south, and they all see the exact same point of rotation in the sky. And that point of rotation is based on their
the
latitude
sky,
in the
that's it.
southern hemisphere.
While
Okay.
the observer
So
is motionless.
why is it possible for every person in the southern hemisphere to look due south in opposite directions from every other person in the southern hemisphere on their latitude? And
happy
they
you
all
asked.
see due south. They see the same thing. Why is that if it's not a three-dimensional sphere?
I'm happy you asked. Because first off, it's not a circle. You don't have one sun and one moon circling around the North Pole. You have two celestial axes. You have one in the north around Polaris and one in the south around the southern truth.
Wait,
you
but-
call it Sigma Octantis.
If the Earth
You have
is
bipolarity of Earth and by celestial poles. And actually, the places we geographically call
okay,
poles are
what
actually
what
coming
map do you
from
subscribe?
the
Lottie,
celestial poles.
I need some
above it.
context on what you're saying. What map do you subscribe to? What do you think the azimuth equidistant map is correct?
No, it's not.
What
It's not correct.
is there any map that
No.
you can give me a reference to? Because what you're saying would
No,
say
it's-
that
it's
north and south is split 50-50
Classical
across a flat
world
plane.
map. It's a classical world map with the equator, straight equator, east to west.
Right, so you think the Earth's like a square split 50-50 and north is the top of that and south is the bottom of that?
That's it, but it's not looking square anymore, because when we talk about Earth, we talk
Oh, my
about
brain.
ground, the solid ground, and the face of the Earth is not square anymore. You know, there are different territories after the Great Flood. We had I don't think the ocean level went back to the previous the pre-flood level. I mean, the flood is
There was
historically.
never a big flood, that's for sure. But
Sorry?
there was never a big flood. You're making a lot of assumptions
Well,
there.
it's recognized in
No, it's
the.
not. It's not recognized anywhere that there was
no,
ever
it's
a big
your
flood.
statement, I don't know. I don't have to agree, as we said, with what you say. Yeah,
Well, there's
there
no
are.
proof. There's no proof. I mean, you can say it all you
Geological,
want, but
research,
until you can provide an actual piece of
historical-
evidence, there's no proof.
I
I'm not
mean,
gonna
you still haven't explained many of the things that we can explain. You haven't explained why we can measure the rotation, apart from saying electromagnetic stuff, but that doesn't work
Well,
because light doesn't agree with you.
You state that the gyroscope is proving the Earth motion. I said
Well,
you have to
that's the-
intertwine it with different experiments.
No, that's the
And
only
then
thing it can be
Make
doing.
your
It can't
choice.
measure anything
Is
else.
Earth moving or is it not moving? So you wish to tell me that the gyroscope experiment is only proving Earth rotation. What about the other motions?
What are you talking- good point. Good point.
Yeah,
There is
yeah.
no motion.
No,
point.
Lottie, that's a good point. Yeah,
Go ahead.
me and team bring this up regularly, and not only does a fiber optic gyroscope pick up a 15-degree rotation around its own axis, but it will actually pick up a 1 degree drift a day on a two-dimensional plane of a circle, which is the Earth's orbit around the sun.
What is the sun?
Yes.
The sun is moving 15 degrees, but not Earth. Earth is stable, not moving.
Lottie, no,
we measured the opposite of that, and that's what I'm saying to you. We can measure the movement of the Earth around its.
You use a man-made instrument.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Conclusions, but yes, it does matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Otherwise, we wouldn't
because
be,
you need to explain what it's measuring then, without just denying. Because right now you're just going nuh-uh, but you need to explain why it's measuring a 15-degree rotation around its own axis and a 1 degree drift a day in a circle. You need to explain that. Otherwise, you don't have an argument.
This particular gyroscope, I haven't gone into the details how it is made.
I showed you the operation, the mechanics of how it works.
Gyroscope, you have to move it yourself, otherwise it's not moving on its own.
Oh no, actually, we know people that have, using mechanical gyroscopes, also measured the same drift.
Very good, but it's not convincing enough as the.
An actual measurement isn't convincing.
Yeah.
Show the pendulum fight. That's a good one that shows rotation that's done mechanically.
The Foucault pendulum. It's a French guy, you know, it's a French guy. I dug into his history and what goes around and what was at the time, because it's not enough to just say, yeah, this guy proved. No, the instrument he constructed.
Yeah,
it's
so
showing flows. For example, it's going to show flows when in the case of eclipses, solar, particularly solar eclipses, it's gonna you have to start it yourself. Otherwise, it's like any other thing pending from the roof. It's not going to move on its own. And other conclusions, other than the Earth is in fact moving, because I see the instrument moving. The instrument is moving under a stationary Earth. Why can't I conclude in this way?
Today we get to play with Foucault's pendulum.
Because you need to explain things that happen, right? You need to explain why the pendulum drifts, for instance.
Comparing with, I don't know, for example, the famous Michelson interferometer.
Yeah.
That's one example, but there are other experiments.
But let me tell you something. Before you make the mistake of trying to bring up the Michelson-Morley experiment, they detected motion.
No, I'm not making a mistake. I'm just saying.
No, they detected motion. I know you're going to say, hold on, you're going to say they detected no motion of the ether, but they did detect motion of the ether. They detected a motion on several tests of between 1 and 10 kilometers per second. It was still a ridiculous idea to believe that the ether was moving at even 1 kilometer per second or 10 kilometers per second with the Earth around the sun. They did not. They knew that was a ridiculous concept. That was the only conclusion that would have led to their results if the ether existed. The ether would have had to move with the Earth around the sun. That was their conclusion. That's why they go, no, it's a null conclusion. It's a null. It matched the null hypothesis, and it's the most famous incorrect experiment of all, the most famous failed experiment of all time, because it led what they detected. They realized that they realized from their measurements that the concept of the ether was erroneous. They didn't come to the conclusion that the Earth.
No, that's another conclusion. I don't agree.
No, that's what that was their conclusion. Michelson-Morley came to that conclusion.
Their conclusion.
They're the experimenters. You can't come to their conclusion for them, okay?
Yeah.
You're not a scientist. They are. They put the work and the education and everything into understanding what they were doing. You didn't. You can't come to an conclusion.
It's too easy to say. We are not the scientists. We can't conclude. We have the ability, the intellectual ability, you and me and your other chap here, we have the ability intellectually to agree or disagree with what has been agreed.
If you are disagreeing, no, like Lottie, right, you can disagree, but if you're disagreeing, you need to give us a solid reason to disagree with the experimenter's results.
Yeah, there are others. I just mentioned Michelson, and which he did with Morley.
Yeah.
But there are others. I don't have them in mind right
Gail
now.
Pearson, for instance, who also detected motion.
Yeah, there are several.
Airy's failure, which completely failed to detect
as you
an ether.
also forget this crucial point, there is also yourself. You are part of this system. So you have to account for your own biology.
No, that's nothing to do with a pendulum.
Motion or
we have machines that can take these measurements for us that have no bias whatsoever.
Yeah.
You need to, you can deny all you want, but you still need to explain why we get these observations. I was just showing a video, I don't know if you saw it in the Hangouts there, of a guy who individually did his own Foucault experiment with,
other explanation. I told you, I believe this realm which we share is enclosed and ruled by electromagnetic forces. So you can also act
but it's objectively not.
Showing like a pendulum. You can act on it as well.
I want to ask you the same question I asked the guy last night. Okay. I want you to think about what I'm saying because it's a simple way to see something. Okay. There's two observations I want you to visualize, and we'll do them one at a time. The first one is if a plane flies over your head, and as you watch it fly away, the distance that it travels angularly, okay, it's from your perspective, will decrease with time. So the first minute it will travel a certain amount of degrees from directly overhead. The second minute it won't travel as many degrees. The third minute it will travel even less degrees, and so on and so on and so on. That's perspective, okay? Now, when we watch the sun get closer to us and then get further away, it always maintains a constant speed of 15 degrees per hour. If we say if it's close to us, like the plane is close to us, as in it's enclosed in the system, then it shouldn't move at 15 degrees per hour for everybody. It should move at 15 degrees per hour for the person that it is directly below.
Do you have in mind, sorry to cut you, do you have in mind this stupid circle model with lights circling around the North Pole? Because if you have that in mind, of course, your discourse, I agree with you. I mean, I can join your
well, then
team
what is the sun then? Understood. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Then what is the sun?
The motion of the sun is east-west, and there are
No. What is the sun? What is the sun made of? What are we looking at when we look at the sun?
What is it made of? Something electric, something to do with electricity.
What evidence do you have of that?
Its nature is electric. It's a light.
How do we see the photons coming off of it then? When we don't see photons coming from like our electric socket?
You see photons? What do you say?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Why do we see photons coming from the sun, but we don't see photons coming from like our electric socket or something? Anything electrical?
Yeah, if it's electric, why does it make light?
If it's electric, why does it make light?
Yeah, if it's not something physical that's undergoing a process of fusion, which ultimately, releases a photon, which we know this has to be science, whether the Earth is flat. Hold on. Whether the Earth is flat or round, we do know that fusion causes photons to be released. Okay, so we look up in the sky, we see the sun, we see photons coming from it, and we see evidence of nuclear fusion in the sun. Okay, with neutrinos.
No, that's your interpretation.
No,
There's
it's not.
Nuclear fusion.
No, it is not an interpretation.
Nuclear
No,
fusion.
it
It
is
doesn't have
not
anything
an
to do with.
interpretation. It is absolutely fusion, and you can't prove otherwise. If you can, I'd be
Well,
more than
that's your
happy to hear
belief.
your
I'm
evidence.
sorry, you can't prove that. It's
Do
your
you have
belief.
evidence to
I don't
suggest
have
that
to
it's
believe
not
it.
fusion? Hold on. Do you have evidence to suggest that it's not fusion, or are you simply taking the anti-science position?
No, I mean, you can, showing me this picture, for example, you can interpret so you're talking about the little white stuff coming out. That's it? That's what you call fusion, I guess?
That's
That's
plasma.
plasma. Fusion happens in the center.
You're
Center.
echoing.
What
Why am I
center?
echoing?
That's only a guess. Well,
No, it's
well,
science.
you call it
It's
evidence.
science.
No,
hey,
it's
hey,
science.
Lottie.
Then
All right. You
then
remember
you
how?
call- you call it, and you
Wait,
hide
Lottie,
behind
one sec.
science.
Lottie, one sec.
Science.
Lottie,
There's
one sec.
nothing scientific.
Lottie,
what
one
you're telling
second.
me, you know?
Chill. Lottie,
There's
one
no
sec.
center. You assume, yet you assume
Can you
it's
hear me?
very far from view,
I
and you
can.
assume it's a ball as well, isn't it? Because it's got
Right.
a center.
Lottie,
So,
one
so
second.
that's a lot of assumptions in just two
Lottie,
sentences.
just stop 1 second and listen,
I'm
right?
telling you, it's not the nature of
Right. Wait.
the physical body.
Lottie, please, just give me a second, right? Remember earlier how you were talking about radar and team's job was to work with radar? Well,
Yeah.
I'm a nuclear engineer, right? That means I understand nuclear physics. So if you're saying that that's not fusion, then you're going to need to explain certain things like why we can detect the remnants of nuclear fusion coming from the sun.
That's another assumption.
No, it's absolutely not.
Well, it's not. It doesn't. It doesn't put the sun 150 million kilometers
That's
away
not what we're talking
from
about at the
time.
moment. Don't change
Anyway,
the subject,
irrelevant.
Lottie.
That's
Lottie,
irrelevant.
you're trying to
Back
say
to
that. Yeah, you're
Of
trying to
what
say
we
the sun
know
isn't nuclear
about
fusion,
it.
right? Then you are going to need to explain all the byproducts of nuclear fusion that we can detect coming from the sun. Gamma rays, alpha rays, X-rays, microwaves, infrared and ultraviolet radiation. You know, all these things which are what you would expect to get from a massive ball of nuclear fusion. So why can we detect the remnants of nuclear fusion?
Yeah.
Why can we detect the remnants of nuclear fusion if nuclear fusion isn't happening?
I'm not confused. I'm not confused at all.
I'm not saying you're confused. I'm asking why can we detect the remnants of nuclear fusion? We
The
can
term
actually
astrophysics was first
irrelevant, right?
used-
And need to answer the question, right? The question is why can we
Yeah, you have to put
detect
things in
nuclear
context.
fusion
I'm sorry, you
resonance?
can't assume like you say nuclear fusion. So if I understand the term you're using now, I have to assume that all the things we watch into the sky are very far away and they are physical or gaseous bodies. You know, some place we can physically reach eventually.
Well,
Maybe
the fact that
even
you
not,
can't
because
accept that
it's not.
isn't my issue. I am just
But it's
presenting you with the facts,
a
and the
complete.
facts are that we can detect remnants of nuclear fusion coming from the sun. That means that it has to be a ball of nuclear fusion.
Or you could explain why we have the remnants of nuclear fusion with no nuclear fusion involved,
Okay.
instead of just saying nuh-uh.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to. Maybe you have a false paradigm regarding the sun.
Well, I would like to
Regarding
make an observation here,
precision,
Lottie. Every time
regarding
we say that we know something, like when Fight says that he has education and experience in the nuclear engineering field, when I tell you I have an education and experience, hold on, hear me out. I'll give you a chance to talk. When I tell you that I have an education and experience, like field experience working with the education I received in radar technology, which involves the speed of light, by the way. It's dependent upon the speed of light. And then we say that there's all these other scientists who have made these observations, including ones that you've brought up, the only thing you have done is taken the contrary point to anything we've brought up and said that we're
Not
making
anything.
an assumption.
I just show you another way to perceive and another perspective.
When are
You're
you going to
basing
give evidence of your
most of
denial
your
to
system
support
is
why you
based
deny everything?
Yeah, you're just
most of
going, I
your
don't believe
everything
it without a
is
reason.
based on assumptions. And the term astrophysics did not come into modern vocabulary until 1934.
You mean when there started to be astrophysicists? Yeah, probably. Do you know that quantum physics wasn't a term until like, I believe somewhere around 1909 or maybe late
Yeah, you can
1800s?
invent
Does it
new
mean
terms all
does
you
it
want,
mean
but
that
that
does it
means
mean that light wasn't interacting with electrons before 1907? No, it doesn't. It just means that at that point we developed a science and we defined that science. Yes, quantum
so
physics
you want to
became a
say
science when quantum.
you
Go
assume
ahead.
we evolved intellectually and that our ancestors
No, we learned
knew
from the
not enough
scientists
to
before us. Yes,
comprehend what you are
yes.
able to comprehend through you through your education, because that seems an important point.
Education is quite
Your
important because if you
education
aren't educated about
educated
things,
you
then you have no
to
business
learn and
talking about
receive.
them.
Okay, let me
Sorry?
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Is your home the electricity in your home, is it AC or is it DC? It should be AC. Is it AC? Alternating current?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, I'm pretty sure if it's a modern style home, it is. Did Nikola Tesla build your house for you? Did he install the electricity in your home, or did someone who's learned from the education that was developed from Nikola Tesla's inventions, did they build your home and they use that science to ensure that your electricity works?
Just saying, I don't want Nikola Tesla to build my home. He didn't believe in electrons.
What I'm saying is that just because it's somebody back in the day who went out on a limb and discovered something in science doesn't discredit that science. There are astrophysicists that before Tesla there was no AC. So AC technology was Tesla coming. He brought that technology. Astrophysicists were, when they decided, oh, hey, there's a physics that we need to be studying of the astronomical objects. Well, they developed a field of science and they started calling it astrophysics. Same thing with quantum mechanics and quantum physics. These sciences are being developed off of sound ideas. Okay, so you can't tell us that astrophotography is wrong because they're just taking pictures of lights in a firmament. You can't say that radar technology is wrong because we're making an assumption on the speed of light. You can't say that nuclear fusion is wrong because we're basing it on the remnants that we see coming from nuclear fusion reactions.
Yeah, that's based on an assumption that the sun is this far, and it's still we can detect what we assume to be
nothing to do with the distance of the sun.
Nuclear fusion.
What Fight was talking about had nothing to do with the distance
of
to
other
the
kind
sun.
of interactions.
Well, actually, team, it's not entirely true because we can use spectroscopy and the
I know
the
about
decay of
spectroscopy.
radiation and stuff to actually help determine the distance to the sun as well.
No. I'm saying you're going to see remnants of that reaction regardless of whether the sun is on the surface of the Earth or 93 million miles away.
But we can also use that information to help us determine the distance to the sun, which backs up our point, team, totally. That we know the sun is this distance because there are certain things that happen only if the sun is that distance. You need to explain a lot of the things, why we can measure the distance to the sun, why we can detect the certain elements that are coming from the sun that are remnants of nuclear fusion, and why we can actually figure out how far those remnants have traveled.
Yeah, but that's still in the theory given out in Plato's cave. I mean,
Plato has nothing to do with nuclear fusion, I can assure you.
Well, the measurements measured the data collected to interpret what you say are the result of nuclear fusion could be something else. I'm sorry.
No,
It
no, definitely
doesn't
not.
validate the whole solar system and blah,
No,
blah,
no,
blah.
you need to explain that. You need to explain that statement. If you're saying it's something else, you need to
Well, you
explain
can
what.
observe, I've told you about twice in the conversation. You can go outside and look how the sun behaves. How is it lighting around what's near? You can acknowledge that your
What do you
eyes
mean
can't
lighting around
see that.
what's near?
That's
It
simple thing.
lights
You don't
everything.
need any opticals or anything further than that. How does it behave in your near environment with the
It doesn't behave as though it's in the near environment. If it's in the near environment, then there's other things that you would need to explain. If the sun
yes,
is
for
relatively
example?
small, wait, Lottie. If the sun is relatively small and local, there is many things that you need to explain. Now,
Yes.
let's start with one big thing. If you are saying
Mhm.
the sun is small and local and within the firmament, why am I not
No,
on
no,
fire?
no, 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 no.
She's
The
not saying
source,
small
the
and local
source
sun. She thinks the
is
sun is just
located
a
within the
light in the
Oh,
firmament.
she's
sky.
one of the
Don't talk
projection
for
people.
myself. Don't talk
Yeah.
in my place. Don't talk for myself. Don't assume that
No, I was
you have
correcting him. I was
covered
correcting him.
everything
I,
regarding the
Lottie, calm
place
down.
we
I was
live in.
correcting him. I was correcting
And
him. I was saying
because
that you didn't think it was small and
you looked
local.
around at
Chill out.
different surfaces. Don't
Yes.
assume.
Chill out.
The
Chill out.
sun
Relax.
source
Don't get
is
triggered.
located within the firmament, but underneath, where we are stable on the plane, we witness its image, and we have an image of the sun, the same exact mirrored image on both sides of the equator, and it is very close to you.
And you have no proof of that.
Yes, observations.
No,
What
no,
observation?
no,
Nothing.
you don't. No,
You go
you don't.
outside
You have
regularly
zero
and
proof. You have zero
you
proof of
observe
that.
what
You
you're
looked
looking
up
at.
and said, I'm coming to this conclusion because
No,
this
I told you it's
conclusion
not
matches
really,
what I want to believe. And I'm sorry, but you have no
it's
evidence to
not what I
support
want to
anything you
believe.
believe. It is absolutely what you want to believe because you've
There
denied
are no,
everything. It is
there are no
absolutely
flat
what you want to
earthers.
believe because if it wasn't what you want to believe, you would open your eyes to the evidence that's been presented to you
No,
already. And you
it's
choose
not.
not to see that. Everything that's
No,
put forward to you, you say is an assumption, and then you tell us there's multiple mirrored suns in the sky, like that's not a fucking assumption. Give me a break, Lottie. Come on now.
no, it's not because we've been observing it with optical
Don't say some
apparatus in
stupid
this
shit like
case
that. Don't say
to
stupid shit
detect
because you know
that
what?
the
The
sun
traversal of
image,
Venus in
just
front of the
like the
traversal of
moon
Venus in front of the
image, is
sun can be witnessed
inverted
by everybody on Earth.
according to which side of the equator the observer is going to look at it. So the sun, when you follow the sunspots are inverted, whether
Hey,
you're
Lottie.
watching them from the northern or from the southern hemisphere.
Kind of
Then
as you
it's
would expect if you're upside down, I
easily
guess. But
observable.
Lottie, before you go
So
on,
it's not far from
Lottie,
you.
hold on, stop one sec. Right, the chat's been asking me to ask you a few questions. So could I just, could you just indulge me for a few seconds and answer some very simple questions?
Mhm.
If I've got a triangle of sides 1, 1, and 1, what are the internal angles?
60.
Wow. Okay. Is 10 to the negative 17 a positive or a negative number?
I didn't get it. Sorry, can you repeat?
Is 10 to the negative 17 a positive or negative number?
Negative?
No, it's a positive number.
What is it? What is that kind of questions? I don't know where
It's called the
you're
litmus
leading.
test. What's 5 divided by 0?
You can't divide by 0.
Very good. 2 out of 3. What do you reckon, team?
I don't understand how you can have the modicum of intelligence that you've at least shown with the litmus test and still get the basic understanding of what's going on with our cosmology wrong. radar technology, and I look, there is no assumption about the speed of light when we're doing radar technology, okay? It's based, like, this is what our defense system is. I'm sure in the country you live in, it's a well-developed country. I don't want to make any assumptions, but I'm sure your military protects your borders, and it protects it from missile attacks by using a radar system, okay?
Yes,
these radar
from
systems
above.
are dependent upon the speed of light being a constant speed, all right? And I know there's going to be people who say constant speed in a vacuum. Yes, we get it. But there's a speed of light is c. C represents constant, okay? If it was not constant, or if this was a false assumption that we were making, then the entire radar technology would be completely bunk. There would be no use for it in military applications. They would given it up because we obviously, our countries, our first world countries, pride themselves on the ability to protect themselves from invaders of other countries and just coming in and stealing all their resources and shit. Part of this is radar technology. We also use radar technology. We also use the radar technology in communications these days. Communications is key.
But it's traveling in straight lines. I don't know what's coming at.
No, it doesn't. Radar is based on electromagnetic radiation. When you turn on a light bulb, does the light go in one direction or does it go in all directions?
And it's not constant because it's traveling. It depends on the medium in which it's traveling.
Okay, that's why we said yes. C for the speed of light. C for the speed of light represents a constant value. Okay.
Yeah,
now there are other properties about light. Hold on. There are other properties about light as it travels through different mediums. It interacts with the medium and the electrons that the medium is made of, and it can appear to travel slower. Okay. But I'm telling you now that the speed of light c is not an assumption. The speed of light c is a constant that was it was calculated by Maxwell first, and then it was confirmed by visual observations. And I think the closest one, the closest earliest visual observation was Michelson-Morley and his rotating mirrors, I believe is what it was called. It was a rotating mirrors device. Okay, so it's not an assumption. These are actual facts right here that we're dealing with.
Yeah, on a stationary Earth.
No, it doesn't need to be stationary.
Yeah.
If it was stationary, then we wouldn't see the. If the Earth was stationary and it was in an inertial reference frame, okay. If it was an inertial reference frame, then we would not see. Hold on. If it was an inertial reference frame, then we would not see the fictitious forces that we see that are present on the Earth. These include ballistic Coriolis, as well as it includes like Coriolis in weather systems. It shows 15-degree drift in fiber optic and optical gyroscope.
I mean, if the the speed was 0 at the poles, and the more you go to the equator, the faster, then you would feel it somehow. You would be able to.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Can.
Yeah, that's a great point. I want to hold on. Give me a second. That's a great.
No,
okay.
You absolutely can.
As I said, that is my unwavering postulate, because I compare it with various
okay, all right, Lottie,
human
1 sec.
civilizations around the world. Different. It's an evidence, as I said. It's a fact for me.
So Lottie, you're saying that you're saying that there's no difference. You're saying you cannot feel the speed that you're supposed to be traveling at the equator.
You detect some motions like with the laser gyro, okay, but it doesn't prove that.
Why do you weigh less, Lottie? Why do you weigh less at the equator than you do at the poles?
It's still a question of electromagnetic.
No, it's nothing to do with electromagnetics. That can't affect your weight like that. Why is it that you weigh about 0.5% less at the equator than you do at the poles?
Because it's not motion. It's not moving. What's moving are the.
But if it's moving, Lottie, like give me a sec, right? If the Earth is rotating at the speed we say it is, then that explains why you weigh 0.5% less at the equator.
It could,
It does,
but
absolutely.
it's a bit of a light explanation. It's
No,
not
no, it's not a
convincing
light
for,
explanation. It's the explanation. It's, do
you
you know how to calculate centrifugal acceleration? Because when you do the calculations for centrifugal acceleration at the equator, you get about 0.5% of the gravitational acceleration in the opposite direction, which is why at the equator you weigh about 0.5% less. And that is why you have to
that's a
calibrate
generality you're
scales.
making. It's a generality you're making because
So,
No, it's not a
Lottie,
generalization. It's a
yes,
mathematical
because
fact.
it's not everywhere on Earth. There are
Letty,
several
may I speak?
several places on Earth which have gravitational what do they call that? Anomalies.
Well,
It's
around
easy
mountains
then
and
to
areas
say,
of higher
well,
density stuff underground.
it's a
And
no, but
We
you know, in some cases it's not working properly
no, it
like a
works perfectly.
no.
It's explained, but you keep saying that, but
You
it's
know,
explained by our model. Team, sorry,
we
you've got something to say.
literally
Yeah.
no, and you're right, Fight, but
there are,
Letty, we literally had a
according to
PhD
me, there are
scientist on
no
here. Letty,
Letty,
actual
listen.
models
Letty,
working.
we
listen.
literally had a PhD scientist on here the other day to explain gravimeters and how geologists use those to predict mineral formations underneath the earth. Okay, so it has nothing to do. What you're saying has absolutely nothing to do with electromagnetics whatsoever. And according to this PhD, which this is not the only high dollar,
He
high
has to
value
mention his
job.
PhD. I mean, he has to have
Listen, because they have an education that you
validation
don't. They've taken the time to educate themselves
or
instead
not.
of just go, nuh-uh, okay? That's why we bring him up.
Oh,
The
he's
second
in
thing
the
I want
chat
to
now.
point
Hello,
out,
Anthony.
the second thing I want to point up is that this machine that they use, this high dollar machine that's used in a high dollar field, is dependent upon your latitude due to the fact that at different latitudes you have a different centrifugal force. And because these machines are so sensitive, they must take the rotation of the Earth into account. This is also true in the jewelry field as well, when they're measuring out diamonds and stuff like that. At different latitudes, at the equator, diamonds are going to weigh less than they are up in England. Okay, so they got to take that into account.
Otherwise, I can make a lot of money really easily just by buying gold at the equator and going north.
It's mostly the sun's influence because the sun
No,
is
it's not.
What influence?
moving around between.
What influence? You're just saying it's to some influence. What
sun is-
mechanics are behind this influence?
Well, I mean, it's making the seasons. You know, it's making the seasons. The sun.
I mean, to some extent, you're right, but not in the way you think you're right.
It doesn't answer
So
the
you don't
question
know
just by
which
saying.
way I think I'm right. You know, I'm just.
No, I'm saying, like, explain to me how the
You're
sun does.
right.
Okay. You explain to me how the sun is responsible for seasons, then, and then I'll explain why you're wrong.
Yeah, the sun is giving the seasons. As I told you, there are two images of the sun, and there's a swap at the equator twice a year at the equinoxes.
Just two images of the sun.
So there's one strong image of the sun giving the summertime, and one
Okay.
mirrored image, and that's why
What-
you need also the firmament.
From your best understanding,
acting
what is
like
creating the
a
light
mirror,
of the sun?
inverting the image.
Letty, from your best understanding, what is creating the image of the sun?
Light and
No. I understand it's made of light, but what is
firmament.
making it look like it's up there?
Sorry?
I understand it's light, but what is making it look like it's there? When I look up and I see the sun in the sky, I think I'm looking at a ball of plasma and gas, right?
Because it
You're
is
telling me I'm wrong. Hold on. You're telling me I'm wrong. What am I looking at?
You only see one face of it. Whichever the position on the plane, on the Earth, you
What
see the
is
same
creating
face
the
of
image?
sun. You don't see any other face giving you a ball.
I think you're misunderstanding my
Same
question.
face.
What is
Like the sun
creating
and
the
other
image? Letty, what is
other-
creating the image?
the solid structure, the firmament.
Okay, why is it then when we measure, hold on, why is it then when we, hold on, why is it then when we measure, why is it then when we measure the light coming from the sun using spectroscopy, we see different elements being absorbed, different lights, wavelengths of light being absorbed, which corresponds to the different elements that are in the sun, which corresponds to our theory of our cosmological theories.
Yeah, you assume it corresponds.
No, no, no. It's not an assumption. It's not an assumption. We see the absorptions. Hold on. Hold on. Letty, you're wrong. You do understand spectroscopy is not a flat Earth, globe Earth thing, right? Spectroscopy is like what the science. Hold on. It's the science they use to be able to create neon signs and stuff like that. Okay. Like they use the spectroscopy to know what elements are going to display what colors and stuff like that, okay? So spectroscopy has nothing to do with flat Earth, globe Earth. It's its own science and it's verified.
I know that spectroscopy.
So why is it that we can look at the sun and see lines of spectrographical lines in the sun that correspond to the different elements that are in the sun? How do you explain that?
Well, I explained that it's assuming that it looks like, it behaves like. That's what you conclude with hiding behind a model, a complete heliocentered model, right? I'm not making assumption.
Oh, you're making a lot of assumptions. The main assumption you're making is that everybody who's studied any physics, field of physics ever is wrong.
So looking at the sun, we've been making experiments one side and the other side of the equator simultaneously, and when there are sunspots, you realize that the sunspots are inverted. The image.
Yeah, of course, Lottie. Of course, they're going to be. If the Earth is a sphere and you look at them whilst you're on the underside of that sphere, then the sunspots are going to look like they're the other way around. It's the same reason why in Australia the moon looks upside down than it does to you and I in Europe.
Yeah, that's assuming we don't have the same...
no, that's using basic geometry.
So someone has the perspective...
But what you're saying is no problem for us, and it's explained by our model. Come on, Lottie. Everything you're saying is nothing apart from nuh-uh, and then you accuse us of making assumptions when we've got all the evidence. We've measured the radius of the Earth. We've measured the rotation of the Earth. We have physical, empirical evidence, and all you are doing is denying.
Spectroscopy line. I can't say that word tonight. Letty, you yourself can see the spectroscopy lines. You don't have to take anybody's word for it. All you have to do is go get something that breaks the light down into the spectrum.
Yeah,
once you do that, you can see it for yourself.
Images.
No assumptions.
They are not just lights; they are images. And what makes an image? You need light and you need a screen.
I don't think you understand how spectroscopy works. I don't think you understand how absorption lines and emission lines work and why they are the way they are.
Right, Lottie. Okay. If there's no curve, then you need to explain to us how we can measure the curve.
You don't measure it. You calculate it with math. You don't measure it.
No, it's measured.
What?
She thinks you can only measure something if you physically hold a ruler up.
You just denied the entire science.
You would be an architect if you wanted to measure it. You would be an architect and you would make a mock-up, and this mock-up would have to take into account this.
Yeah, ever heard of geodesic surveyors?
Sphere.
Yeah, ever heard of geodesic surveyors? Lottie, have you ever heard of a geodesic surveyor?
Sorry?
Have you ever heard of a geodesic surveyor?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, how come they measure the curve of the Earth all the time?
No, they calculate. If you wanted to,
are you saying they're wrong?
Measure,
are you saying that they're wrong?
Are you measuring?
Wait, are you saying every geodesic surveyor in the world is wrong?
It's horizontal. It's not.
Come on, Lottie. You're not giving any answers here. You're just going nuh-uh, even though we've got measurements and we can show you pictures and everything that you want. We have the evidence that the Earth is curved. Is there any evidence that it's flat?
It may have convinced you, but when I search myself, I wanted to...
What have you searched? What have you searched?
whether
You're
Earth
talking about YouTube
has
videos?
movement or whether Earth is fixed. And I came to the conclusion, using Occam's razor, that it's more logical
Then
following
you misused Occam Razor, because for the
and
flat Earth to be real, you have to make far too many assumptions.
And many other researchers from the past, even in Greece, even in
Right.
crisscrossing all the information. I think it's more reasonable to.
Or you denied a lot of science without having a
Yeah,
science.
you just
degree
made
behind
so
it.
many
from there.
assumptions. Like, you've misused Occam's razor
Not an
because
assumption.
you've made so many
Based on
assumptions,
different
whereas
experiments.
our model does not require assumptions because it has explanations for everything that are empirically
Yeah.
backed up with evidence.
A model, as you said. So a model is man-made. This thing is not man-made.
Flerf,
We're all sharing
guys,
the
if you're
same
playing
thing.
Flerf Bingo, I'm pretty
It
sure
didn't
someone's got
come
it by
out
now,
of
right?
the blue.
Come on,
Sorry?
lot, you're being you're being extremely disingenuous and just throwing a bunch of flat Earth terms around that don't mean anything. What if I showed you a picture of the curve?
It's not flat Earth terms. I told you I'm not calling the Earth flat.
Yeah, I know. I know you're saying that you're not a
Are
flat
you
earther,
even
but you are.
calling the Earth Earth? You know, I mean, have you denied that? Science, hold on. Science has named our planet Earth. Are you prepared to deny that as well?
Earth
Because
is not,
you denied
yes, Earth is not
everything so
planet.
far.
That's wrong
So
to
you
say.
are
Earth
denying it.
planet.
Okay,
Earth
great.
is not a
Why
planet.
not? You
Earth
already
is
denied
not
everything else.
counting
Why
within.
not?
Right, Lottie.
Because I'm looking into the roots of words, and
You
this
ain't
word
looking
planet
anywhere.
does not mean Earth. Earth never counted within the planets. It's only recent and modern.
I
No,
honestly think you
not
have
logically.
a conclusion written
Maybe
down in your
you
book,
lack
in your
some,
journal, and
some
every page afterwards is a
evidence
page
to
of
decide.
evidence supporting your conclusion.
Yeah. Right. Let's break this down to
I don't have
Lottie.
to convince you, but
No. You don't have to
I've looked
convince
into
us,
it
but you need
enough.
to explain things. Like, do you see the picture on screen now that I'm
I
showing
need
you?
to. No, you need to discover for yourself
No.
whether
We've done all the
or
discovering.
not
We've done
true.
everything flat Earth has
You don't need
asked.
explanations. I'm
But
just
this,
one of your peers, you
if
know.
the Earth
I'm
isn't a
not better
globe,
than you.
then
I'm not
Lottie, come on, stop.
above
If
you or nothing.
Lottie, right? If the Earth is the globe, if the Earth isn't a globe, then pictures like this need to be explained, right?
Sorry?
If the Earth isn't a globe, then
Yeah.
pictures like this need to be explained, because this outright demonstrates 100% that the Earth is a globe. Okay?
Great.
The camera height and the top of those bridges are 210 meters above sea
And
level.
you are convinced.
What?
Doesn't mean that everyone has the same conviction as you do.
I don't
But
care. The facts don't care about
I
convictions.
don't care. What you take as facts is not necessarily taken as facts by
Facts don't
everyone.
care if you think they're facts or not.
It's a
Facts are just
consensus.
facts.
You have to look into more history, maybe.
It doesn't matter.
Because in the course of history,
Facts don't
there
stop
are
being facts
also
because you don't like them, Lottie.
valuable people. I can mention, for example, Tycho Brahe, who was a geocentrist.
Mm-hmm.
In the course of history, there are also names that have been left apart. You know,
Cool.
not,
And in 2024, we're going to put a permanent manned base on the moon. And then Elon Musk wants 1 million people on Mars by 2050. Who cares about what people in the past might have thought? Because they've been demonstrated to be wrong.
It's not a physical place to reach Mars. Neither
it absolutely is.
neither
Someone
the
should
moon.
really tell Elon Musk that then, because he's putting a fucking lot of money into that.
You realize that the only reason that you're able to hold on, Letty, hold on. You do realize, hold on, Letty, listen.
Allowing you to make things, okay? The more money you have, the more things you can do. It doesn't mean it's true. What do you fucking argument with?
Listen. You're saying Tycho Brahe thinks that was the geocentric, right? Oh Lord.
Elon Musk doesn't care. He just cares about fundraising. You know, it's just a little boy's dream.
Who gives a fuck what he cares about? He is not the end-all authority on what the truth is and what science
Do
states.
you believe he sent
If space isn't real, then a lot of what Elon Musk does needs to be explained.
like what?
Like, I don't know, being pretty much the sole fucking way of supplying the International Space Station over the past 5-10 years from American soil.
Another
You do realize that your connection to the internet has progressively gotten better and better and better, right? Like, our understanding of online communication in the 1990s was not as good as it is in the 2000s, which is not as good as it is in the 2010s, and then the 2020s is even better. Now, why would you think that that same progression should not apply to astronomy? Why, when Tycho Brahe believed it was a geocentric universe, the person who studied his observations came to the conclusion that it was a heliocentric universe, and then the people beyond that came to Copernicus? Kepler? I'm sorry, Kepler? Johannes Kepler?
Kepler was
not Copernicus, Kepler, I'm sorry.
Tycho Brahe, a pupil.
Yeah, he was Tycho Brahe. He was
had an accident. Oh, he had an illness when he was very young, and he was half blind. He did not observe anything. He took all. He took
Brahe's. Okay, so what? If he would have looked up in the sky and he did his own observations. Hold on. If he would have looked. Hold on, Letty. Let me finish. If he would have been able to see, I'm assuming that. Listen, Letty. Listen. I'm assuming what you're saying right about his blindness is true. Okay. If he didn't look up, if he was able to look up into the sky, are you telling me he would have came to different observations than Tycho Brahe did? The same observations we make today? They're the same observations. He took Brahe's observations and showed that it was not the sun moving around the earth, but that it was the earth going around the sun. That is what Kepler showed from Brahe's observations. And then Newton came along and said,
no, he took the model and he applied what Brahe observed. He did not observe. I told you he was.
Who cares whether he observed it or not?
It doesn't matter.
Brahe's observations.
Yes, but you're taking the historical event
and laying them out in front of you to show that that science progresses as history moves forward, as time moves forward. Yes, it does it in everything. It does it in technology. It does it in science. Yes, it fucking does. Yes, it does. We had a belief system in
are not cleverer today than they were before.
Yeah, we are.
I didn't say that. First off, I didn't say that. But what I did say is that we've built on previous observations, previous sciences. Are you saying that the online communications of the 1990s are more superior than the online communications of today? And if not, why not? Because they've built one step at a time from the 1990s moving forward and have progressed in that understanding and the science behind it. Same thing has happened in astronomy. Tycho Brahe was 1990s internet. Kepler was after that. Newton was after that. Until we get to today. That's why
geocentric and now not. About any other lessons from previous experiments or
they
even
just
now
build upon each other.
You have researchers in the electric universe. So it has not much to do with...
we call those researchers idiots.
Ding.
Idiots?
Yeah. We call all of you science deniers idiots.
Yeah, if you're a science denier, you're an idiot.
What science? You're defending a church.
No, we're not.
You know?
No, I'm not. I don't just believe what they tell me. Why would I do that?
Yeah, that's
why would I believe? Why would I just believe what I saw on the internet? Yeah.
Laws. You assume certain things are laws. You assume your perspective cannot be wrong because the majority thinks.
No, nothing to do with the majority. It's the overwhelming abundance of evidence.
Never mind.
Okay. Letty, let me ask you a question. When it comes to like the law of gravitational attraction, okay, that's a law. It's a science law. I'm sure you. Hold on. I'm not arguing that law with you. I'm not arguing the existence of that law. I'm just saying
attracted by
this
something.
is Hush, listen to the question before you start defending the wrong question. I'm not even asking you about that. I'm saying that we have built this law not based on biases, not based on personal observations, but based on objective reality. When we take an accelerometer, which has no bias built into it, okay, and we place it on the ground, it registers a 9.8 meters per second acceleration towards the ground. Why? There's no human involved, nobody to say this is what happened, this is why it happened. The thing just registers it. Why?
I think she may have.
The thing is, you're defending a whole model. You hiding behind what you call science with a big S.
You didn't answer my question.
Like a church.
You didn't answer my question. You can't say it's a religion. Gosh, let me give you an example of a religion, okay? Let me give you an example of a religion. You read a book that says a God exists. You say, I've never seen a God. There's no way that any person could ever validate that this God exists, but I choose to believe it. That's a religion. Hold on. That is a religion. When I tell you, I believe that there's 9.8 meters per second. Hold on. When I tell you there's a 9.8 meters per second downward acceleration that's due to mass attracting other masses, and I've seen for my own eyes experimentation and demonstrations of mass attracting mass. That means I have evidence to back up what I believe. It is not a belief system. It is something that is backed by empirical observation.
No, there's no empirical evidence.
Oh, there is. You just deny it.
I believe him.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, the vulgarizator, he's telling it. There's no way to explain what this force really is.
It doesn't mean it doesn't. Just because we can't explain it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
The radius of the Earth. Come on, it's an assumption.
Okay, so there was a time when we didn't know that bacteria existed. Letty. There was a time when we didn't know that bacteria existed.
And it worked.
Right, stop. Letty. You are displaying every flat Earth quality, including not being able to shut the fuck up when someone wants to answer a question. So please, just be quiet for a minute.
There was a time when we did not know that bacteria existed. Did bacteria not exist before that time, or did it always exist except there was a time before we knew it existed?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so there's the showing the ignorance of your argument right there. We can invent a science.
I'm not being ignorant. Please. Would you stop accusing me?
Ignorance means that you're just not aware of it. Okay, you're not aware of how bad your argument is.
Model, I would be the idiot and I would be wrong. You don't know my curriculum. I don't have to show you if I have any diplomas. If I'm, I don't. Do
you have any qualifications in physics that makes you capable of having this conversation?
Experience it for yourself. This Earth did not come out of the blue. You're
right. It came out of the black.
We cannot create something as perfect as animals or the human body.
Incorrect.
That's what the actual logical. That's an argument from explosions. I don't know how it could possibly happen. Therefore, it didn't happen. No, I'm sorry. We can explain that. We can explain evolution. We did it the other night in a great
enough explanations doesn't mean necessarily that it is true. Even if your explanation sounds bears logic. I don't say that the whole heliocentric system doesn't bear logic. Okay?
No, it gives predictive power.
I'm just saying
we can make predictions with it.
Not true. It's not true.
Very true.
On various ancient texts, which we call sacred, civilizations, various things you can crisscross to make up your mind in the end.
And you know what? You're absolutely right.
heliocentric
Absolutely
model.
right.
The
And I'll
Earth
tell you
is
like this, in the
not moving,
1990s,
and
in the
it's not a planet.
1990s,
It's not
I
a
was
body.
amazed by the internet in the 1990s. But I look at it today and I laugh at the fact that I was so amazed by 9600
Yeah.
baud modems.
You know,
But you know
You
what?
learn,
Now I
like
don't have to worry about having the
technology
limited
doesn't mean that
capabilities of
we are
9600
more
baud
now
modems.
than
I
we
can
used
do
to
this
be.
across a fiber optic connection. Thank you, science.
Yeah.
Thank you, scientific advancements.
Team, I thought it was
course.
amazing when I downloaded the Matrix 3 in just over a
I'm
day and a
not
half.
throwing the whole
Yeah, me
scientific
too.
out the window. I'm saying that there are certain fields, like the field of the astrophysics, which is not truth. So I don't see any problems in
How is it
rejecting
not true?
it.
How is it not true?
No, just because you don't understand it doesn't make it not true. Your lack
Yes,
of
I do
intelligence,
understand it.
Lottie, your lack of
I
intelligence does
don't
not
understand
discredit
it. I
an
do
entire field of
understand it.
science.
It's a fraud. You pay for it, but it's a fraud. You don't have to
Then
believe
tell us
me.
how it's false. Tell us how it's false.
My own
I'll
experience.
listen to you.
Please falsify
Sorry?
the entire field of
Yeah,
astrophysics.
please
Go ahead.
tell me how astrophysics is a false science, is a pseudoscience. Please tell me how that is.
Because looking at the sky with or without optical apparatus is not telling you that there are physical places to reach. You know, it's based on spectrometry, on the fact that light is more or less strong. But this is assuming, this is making a lot of assumption. I can go watch myself, the sun in the sky, for several days. I see myself. It's acting as a very close light
Okay,
playing with
so everything you just said was
playing,
absolutely incorrect, and you didn't falsify the science of astrophysics. I asked you for an example of how astrophysics is a pseudoscience. You said because we're looking at the sky. Yeah, well, I have something that's gonna blow your mind. Every observation,
theoretical
the observation
science,
you accept
which
require
includes
you
ground
looking at
science
something.
afterwards.
So because
I
we're
looked into the
looking at
history.
the stars,
Did you look into the history?
you're not falsifying
You look
astrophysics.
into the root words, the
We
meaning of the words. No, you haven't. You assume Earth is a planet. You assume
Oh my assumptions.
we are looking at bodies because you take a
Right,
telescope.
Lottie, stop. Goodness me.
You
You did not falsify astrophysics because you
that
look in the sky, you see the astronomical objects. You weirdo.
It's not objects.
Okay?
You name them objects. They
You
are not.
call them lights. That's
Right,
fine. Yes,
right.
they produce or reflect
Well,
light.
you have
Yes,
to be
that's
doing your
true.
research.
They do appear
Okay,
as
Lottie.
lit objects against the back of the black sky. Yes, you're right.
To understand what we are looking at.
That, you're a moron.
Yeah, I'm a moron. Okay.
You
Look
are.
at yourself in the mirror, because the
I
moron
do.
is yourself.
I do 3 times a
Oh,
day.
no, team,
Minutes
don't.
at a time.
Lottie, you can't tell
Buddy.
Team to go and look in the mirror. His face can hurt him.
Possibilities to reach and conquer. I don't know. I don't mind.
You
in your
deny
mind.
something that
You
you have.
call me a moron. Look yourself in the mirror. You're the moron.
Five.
Not
Physics.
wanting to look into the past and what our ancestors, our predecessors left as clues to understand what we are actually
Our
looking at.
predecessors were mostly idiots.
Oh my God! Do you? Okay.
So, very
So
intelligent people today,
again,
calling everyone
our
else
predecessors had
Yeah.
9,600
Fit on your
volumes.
ancestors.
Should
You're
we
right.
be using those
You're
today?
right.
Yes or no? Should we be using 9,600
Yeah,
volumes
I don't
from
believe
1990 today?
Because no,
No. Why not?
because you're starting to insult, to have recourse to insult. Idiot, moron. No, they were not
Oh, no,
morons.
they're objective facts. You lot are all idiots and morons.
Geophysicists, you're insulting geophysicists, you're insulting astrophysicists, people that have gone to school for 8 to
Seismologists.
12 years. You are sitting here
Optometrists.
behind your fucking
Not my
camera
problem.
insulting
If
the
they
people
don't
that make it
insult
possible for
because they
you to
have
fucking even have this conversation like
Not
this.
my problem. I
You are a
confronted
moron.
the famous Australian guy, astrophysicist, what's his name? Danny Faulkner. Same reactions. So I'm a moron.
Danny Faulkner's a creationist. We don't really count him as one of us. Don't worry.
one of us. So that's a clan against a clan now.
No. When I
Is
say
it?
us, I mean sensible,
Can I
normal
leave?
people.
Can I leave this
I mean
debate
people
because
that
it's not
are
debate
sane.
now?
You
It's
can leave
really
if you can
room
leave if
for
you
yourself.
like. You
You know,
can leave if you
you're
like.
lucky.
Well, but you've
You're
done what
lucky
all
in
flat
your
earthers do, and that's
social
turn up
background
without
and
any
like
evidence, constantly talk
linguistics as
without
well.
learning how to shut up.
Words count. They have meanings. They have a history as well. All words we are using today were
Yeah,
not all existing, and they were
yeah.
they
Meanings of
in
words
their
get updated.
definition as
Language is
well.
fluid. We don't need to stick to what things meant in the past. It's all good. Look, your own
It's not
ignorance is not our
it's not
problem.
sticking to what was said in the past. It's sticking to what is real, what is true, what is the truth.
No, not true, because meanings can develop over time as understanding increases. You not
Ideology,
being able to, oh, shut the fuck up, will you? Just for once,
ideology
stop
matters
talking.
eventually be
Seriously.
the same as what we are standing on.
I
Why
mean,
not a planet? It's your belief. It's a philosophy.
can
You
you
know?
ever stop talking? It's amazing. This is what flat earthers do. If you can't, say anything interesting, just constantly over
Because you're
talk.
putting a clan against a clan. It's not a debate.
No. When I
When
say
we are
us, I mean
thinking, it should
sensible,
be
normal, sane
okay.
people, not insane morons who think the earth is a magic frisbee.
No, it's not.
We know it's not, but you fucking idiots think it is.
Okay, tell them. I'm out.
Bye.
I keep telling you, it's not a
Just wave the
circle
white flag
centered
as
at
you
the
leave.
North Pole. I told
You
you.
just keep
You're
saying
not
that it's not. We're unable to determine
no,
what it is, and we are. So bye bye.
not
Bye bye.
yeah.
We'll add you to the rage quit counter. Thank you very much for participating. Have a great
Take
day.
care. I hope
Bye.
you see the light.
Go and read a book.
Go and learn to read. Oh my
Yeah, my God.
God.
Why can't flat earthers shut the fuck up?
I don't know, man, but that's my next shirt. I'm having Wildman Fujiyami remake that Batman
Shut
slapping
the
Robin,
fuck
but
up.
it's gonna be me. It's my Lego guy slapping Nathan, and it's gonna say "Shut the fuck up, Nathan," and
Yeah.
mine just need to "Shut the fuck up, laddie."
I'll definitely be buying that. Oh man.
This is great. I love
So-
this shit.
So the original Flat Earther I was supposed to debate team, I sent him a link to join vMix and he couldn't figure out how to make vMix work. So then I set up Hangouts like this and tried to get him into Hangouts, and he couldn't join because he was using a Yahoo account.
Oh Lord.
So he sent me a screenshot of Google saying, no, that's a Yahoo account, accused me of trying to hack him, and blocked me on Facebook.
Sounds like he was just a little bit scared to come in. That dude right there, I don't know. I don't know. He seemed fucking weird.
Yeah, well, all Flat Earthers are fucking weird.
The chick
Oh my
tonight
God.
was weird. God damn, where'd you find her? Holy shit.
Well, I went onto the guy's profile on Facebook and I was like, yeah, because he's posted our conversation on Messenger, which shows how much of an idiot he is, but he thinks it's showing that I tried to hack him. And Lottie commented on that saying, oh, what are they trying to do? And I was like, look, he's an idiot. He can't figure out how to join. Do you want to take his place? And she agreed, which was, nice of her to do that at short notice, but I'm fucking regretting it now.
No, and I tried to be nice. Like, I just wanted to be nice. I don't know. I guess I feel soft for women sometimes when they come on. I just want to be nice. Oh, God, I should have said it differently.
Yeah.
I just want to be nice to them and make them feel welcome, because we just don't have enough women in the community that are doing stuff. And we have really great creators like Crafty Keela, Rennie Baby, Glover Mommy. God, I can't think. Now they're all going to kill me. They're going to say Cheshire Vic, Cy Strikling, like all of it. We have some great ones, but we don't have enough. It's definitely dominated by males.
Red.
No, but so I do always like to. I always start off just giving a little extra cushion before I go into like, yo, you're a dumbass mode. But she pushed me fast into the dumbass mode.
So much denialism.
So.
It's
But
just
anyway,
incredible.
yeah. So, but towards the end, I was like, no way, I'm not giving this. I'm not just because she's a woman. I'm not gonna let her
Yeah.
fucking get away with fucking
But
disrespecting our fucking PhD friends. Fuck
she
that.
also had kids in the room with her, which is why I kept cutting her camera off.
And
And
yeah,
I didn't want to, I felt bad pushing it too far with clearly like her family in the room. Um,
but
I
I try
wasn't.
to be equal to everybody, though. I
Yeah,
do try
yeah.
to be equal to
Equal opportunity
everybody. I'm a little
stupidity,
nicer
right?
because I don't want them to run off so much, and I feel sometimes like my aggressiveness can be perceived as a little bit as bullying to some people. And, she seemed to stick around until the very end, but at the very end, I was like, I'm letting her
Yeah, no,
have
the
it. Fuck that shit.
the chat
Tired of
wanted
her.
me to trigger her. Oh, I think I'm probably going to read super chats and get out of here for tonight, guys. Honestly, I am
Yeah.
shattered over the past few weeks. I've done so many live streams and stuff, and I want to get up at a decent time tomorrow, work on my bunch of videos because it will be the third week of June that I'm getting featured on Simon Dan's channel as is stand-in for the week. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Right.
And then I've got a collaboration with Riders of Dinosaurs, which I'm working on. And I've got a few other things in the bag. Hopefully next week you're going to get a few episodes of Flerfs Are Idiots over the next maybe 7 or 8 days. I want plenty of stuff on the channel for when I go on Simon Dan's.
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh.
For me, I have a new style video I'm working on, guys, that you guys may or may not like. Y'all are gonna like the topic but it's gonna be a completely comic, like a comedy video. It won't be an idiot video, but there's a lady that says that you should consume semen to protect yourself from coronavirus, and there are too many goddamn jokes that can
So many.
possibly be
So
thrown.
many.
And like, you want to get it from the tap, Dr. T
Like
throat.
you should,
Like,
if there wasn't social distancing, you could get a bunch of your friends to just like form a queue at a door.
yes, I might actually go do that and practice with my camera of doing the multiple shots where I have like myself in multiple scenes walking.
That could work.
Yeah, I might have to do that, but yes, I have that video is coming up. I'm kind of writing it. I almost don't want to write it. I almost want to do this one, just freestyle it front to back and see how funny it is. But god damn if it's not fucking a hilarious video. And Bacon TNT Bacon God, he's the one that showed me this video. So yeah, I'm working on that, and that'll be coming out. And holy shit, it's funny. The hole in the wall gang. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, man, that'd be perfect. Need some volunteers to help with this.
And then it's so funny because I have something like I have like a skit planned in the middle of the video, and I don't know how the skit's gonna go over, but I have a good feeling about it. It's gonna involve my son. We'll just say that, and it's gonna be funny. He thought it was funny, so yeah, gonna be funny.
Yeah, your son's got good taste.
Yeah, he's a funny kid, funny looking too.
Let me just get his Nathan.
Yeah, do what Lucian Andrew says. Lick the like button.
Yes, lick the like button.
Lick it 3 times.
Talking about licking, I do need to say thank you to my community because my wife did ask me why a bunch of people are sending me photos of them licking windows. That was a nice conversation I had to have with my wife. She was like, "That's weird. People are sending you photos of them licking windows."
Yeah, what I think is awesome is that he put us up to that challenge. You guys get 25 licking window pictures.
I've got way more than 25.
I do 25 by myself just for the taste.
Oh man. Right, super chats. So first off, we got a couple new members. Thank you very much, guys. We got NDH and Bad Uncle Bob, both parts of the Scrappers. I'm going to be adding some new emojis and stickers and badges for people that have been members for a while and stuff over the next week. So you get to use those. Then we got Hip Hop Hyperbole for $2. I love that name. I lay face down in the grass and don't see curve. Yeah, absolutely. Hyperbole, yeah, I know. Sorry, I said it wrong. And then Humongous for it was another member. Thank you very much. And then we got Now Pinion for 119 sex. Says bonjour. She is familiar with trigonometry, but how does she feel about basic trigonometry?
Yeah. in some dark room of some dark fucking office desk where Red has a paper bag over his head while he works.
Yeah,
he just pulled his pants.
Yeah, what happened? Someone said it, didn't they? Irish Demon for $2.99 Australian. Check out Irish Demon, guys. His channel is awesome. All scientists ever are wrong, and she's right. Sure. Well, that's all flat earthers, isn't it?
No, it was funny. I didn't get it out during the conversation.
I'm glad you didn't get it out
She
during
was
the conversation.
like, "Oh, I do believe in science. There is science I believe in." I was like, "Yeah, any science that fucking supports your pre-drawn conclusion. Yeah, sure. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, the science of internet communications. Totally believe that. I'm using the internet right now. But wait, you have science that says that I'm wrong about the shape of the Earth? Well, that science is just based on assumptions."
Yeah, fucking idiots.
Fucking moron.
Then we've got Ranger Man 9404 for $2. Her arguments are 13.8 billion LYA from reality, light years away from reality. Yeah.
Right.
I hate smartphones for $2 says she doesn't know how RF works, let alone radar. She doesn't know anything. She also couldn't join vMix, which was annoying because I couldn't show her that I had to screen share and everything, and it was awkward rather than just being in vMix. That's why I fucking love vMix. I don't need Hangouts and stuff.
Yeah, fuck all that Hangout shit.
Yeah. Then we've got Rosa43 for $5 says, y'all have more patience than I do. Everything is an assumption, according to her. I don't know if Team and I have any patience left. It's all been rubbed away, wouldn't you say, Team?
Yeah, I might take about maybe at least a 4 live stream break from bringing retards back on. Maybe JM might get a pass because he wants to talk evolution. But the flat-tards, I think, are going to get a little break just for a couple of weeks before I bring them back on. It's fun. It's fun having a dumpster fire, but god damn, it's wearing on my fucking patience right now to deal with this.
I want to jump through the fucking screen at them, honestly.
God, I was like, last night I wanted to backhand Hip Hop Hippie with intelligence so bad. I did. He just didn't feel it.
Then we got I Hate Smartphones for $10 says, what in the world is she saying? None of it makes any sense or even sounds like a coherent thought. Absolutely right. Whenever a flat earther talks, there's just one video that I want to play.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I didn't hear that.
Everyone in this room is now dumber
Yeah,
for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, Team wouldn't have heard that because he joined in the Hangouts link that I had to set up for Dumbass.
Incoherent response.
Shush. Getting Nathan Means playing again. Then Ranger Man 944 for $5 says, you can't see it, it's electric, derpy, derpy, derpy. You gotta feel it, it's electric, derpy, derpy, derpy. That's exactly what she said, right? Like word for word?
Pretty much.
Crafty Keela for €2. Shout out to Crafty Keela, awesome channel. Sending love and support, chat. Hit the like button. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, hold on. I see Crafty Keela down in the chat right now, and she says at FTFE at Team Skeptic, 21 subs away from 1,000.
Well, there's 493 watching this stream, so if one of you hasn't
21
done that,
people out there that haven't subbed to her. Y'all need to go sub to her.
Yeah.
Let's get her over 1,000. And Irish Demon, another one who super chatted earlier, he's getting really close to having 1,000 subs. Let me look at him. And yes, earlier it was a Michelson Morley spinning mirror experiment where he got the he did the measurement of light. I had to look that up to make sure. Someone else said it was another person, and there was another person that did it too. Several people have, but let's see. And Irish Demon's at 888.
Oh,
so we're
nice.
pretty close on him too. But yes, we should definitely all go sub to Crafty Keela. Let me get that link for you guys.
Oh, excuse me. Crafty, if you want to post your link yourself, feel free. Then we got 3-1 for $5 says she hasn't said one thing to infer a modicum of intellect. All she has is the argument from ignorance fallacy. All she has is the brain the size of a walnut. Monkey Cat Pat Pat for $2 says, what the fuck did she just say? My face hurts now. Yeah, another thing that I always want to play when flat earthers talk.
Excuse me. The fuck did you just
I
say?
like this one. Fuck, did you just say?
Yeah.
Alright, I can't even hear it, and I know that that's what played.
Yeah. Then we've got Syed Ahmed for $5 says, Lottie is operating on feelings and opinions. Yeah, they don't understand that we don't give a fuck about their feelings, and neither does science. Morton Nilsson for 45 Donkey Kong dollars. Does the sun on AC or DC? Is the sun on AC or DC, and how many volts? So many questions.
So many questions.
Is it AC or DC, team?
I would say it would be AC.
I don't know. Doesn't make sense because flat earthers are idiots. War Code Word for $2 says she argued Plato's cave, so this is pointless. Look, guys, any conversation with a flat earther is pointless. We do it just to parade the idiots around for you. Bella Charge for $2 New Zealand dollars says cool the chesticles. 3-1 for $2 says we are all dumber for having listened to her. I'm sorry for inflicting that on you guys. My bad. Decepticon is forever. Decepticons Forever for $2 Canadian dollars says, ask her the attributes of the sun, its properties. No, she doesn't know anything. Anthony Purcell for $5. Tony! It is fascinating to watch the techniques Lottie uses to confuse herself. I imagine the techniques she uses to confuse herself involve getting out of bed in the morning, trying to open the fridge, and tying her own shoelaces. Robert Gassman and IXI Ben both became new members. Thank you very much, guys. 3-1 for $2 says, congratulations on finding the dumbest Flerf.
Oh, wow. Crafty Keela, 6 subs away, guys. 6 subs away from Crafty Keela.
All of you, get on your sock accounts. Execution8 for $2.99 Australian. FTFE, send her to your classroom with Natalie and JM. Yeah, I'm going to add some more people to the classroom, and she might get in there. Sleepy Dan for $5 says, did she use a telescope to confirm they are just lights? I don't think she's ever looked through a telescope or done anything resembling an experiment or observation. Rampant, who I will be debating next Monday on supernatural stuff, for 2,500 claps says, science as progress in a linear and continuous way comes from the proper but understanding of science, and undergoing periodic paradigm shifts is better. Absolutely. Science isn't strict and rigid and decided. Science is self-evolving. So flat earthers are idiots. Robert Gassman for $10 says, burn baby burn. I did want to light the dumpster fire, but she had kids. I couldn't light it too hard. Monkey Cat Pat Pat for $5 says, Jesus Christ, Lottie, shut up. Maybe your kids will learn something. I honestly feel bad for them. I know.
Crafty hit 1,000.
Woo! Well done, Crafty.
Thank you, community, for helping us out on that, man. She's a great content creator. You guys will enjoy her material.
Thank you, guys, and well done, Crafty. Congratulations, massive. I remember when I hit 1,000, it was awesome. Philosopher of Nonsense for $2 says she would lock her keys in an open-top convertible. Oofed. Truth Nerds for €5 says, too long DW argument from endless stream of nonsense. Crafty Keela for €2, who just hit 1,000 subs, says, hashtag soft skeptic with the ladies.
Oh, yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
People, please tag that, put it in my meme room, thank you. X Jezekai for $2 says, break time, time for a nice fire-baked pineapple and bacon on pizza. Why would you ruin bacon and pizza in one fell swoop? That's just evil.
No, when I do my pineapple on pizza experiment, and I'm gonna go. Hey, I asked my son to do the fries and gravy experiment today. He doesn't like gravy. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Gravy is amazing.
Are you booting
so exactly right?
Yeah.
So when I do my pineapple, I said I'm trying pineapple on pizza. So he tried it. He liked it, of course, the gravy and fries, because it's amazing. But I was like, I'm going to try pineapple on pizza someday. I think I'm going to have bacon, pineapple, pepperoni, sausage.
Trying to hide that cheese. Foul pineapple, right?
No cheese whatsoever. And diced pineapples. And I'm going to make it I'm going to make 3 different pieces. One with a significant amount, one with a moderate amount, one with a small amount.
Nice. I like,
and then I'll learn all the subs I lose later.
I like dipping fries in milkshake. You ever tried that?
You sick fuck.
Fuck you.
Yes.
Next time you go to McDonald's,
no, actually,
dip your fries in your milkshake.
Yeah, I used to get a well, not a milkshake, but in a Frosty, a Wendy's Frosty. We'll eat Frosty and French fries, but that was when I was a kid and knew no better. Now I'll never do that. Ooh. Well, first off, the ice cream, the Frosty will make me shit weird, so I just don't do that. I don't do any dairy whatsoever, but yeah, when I was younger and I was stupid, I would still eat. I would eat like French fries and dip them in my chocolate Frosty. Yeah, God, that sounds so gross. I'm dipping my French fries in my chocolate Frosty.
McDonald's still aren't open over here. Then we've got, where did we get to? Absinthe for $2 Australian says Crafty Keela should call her goat Meat Tube.
Yeah. Yes.
Like
that would be amazing. If I get an honorary goat, Crafty, you can name him Meat Tube. Just make sure it's a dude. A well-endowed dude.
Yeah. Jessica G for $5 says, relaying message from Hip Hop Hippie. Lottie dominated that debate. Black and white swans and the horizon is debunked. My God, Hip Hop Hippie is one of the dumbest people I've ever met.
Okay. So we have to address something in the chat. It's important. This is something that is super important, guys. We joke around about pineapple and pizza. It's, it's not that serious. It's not a hate crime. Sugar on mac and cheese is a fucking hate crime.
First off,
I don't eat mac and cheese. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch down there. I don't eat mac and cheese, but you are deranged, sir. Mentally deranged.
I used to have a friend who would put sugar on bread and butter and then put it in the microwave.
Oh, that's good.
What? No, fuck off.
Oh,
why would you do that?
Listen, I make the most amazing brown sugar toast you will ever fucking eat. It's not in the microwave, but it's definitely just butter and brown sugar. Lay it all out, spread it out on the bread, throw it in the oven, put it on broil for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes.
Does that come with heart disease or is that extra?
Does it come with what? Oh, it's so good.
Heart disease.
Yes, it comes with heart disease, and heart disease has never tasted so fucking good in my life.
I know,
but
right?
if you caramelize the brown sugar and you pull it out at just the right time, when the crust is starting to get browned, then what will end up happening is the butter, the brown sugar will caramelize into the butter, and then the butter will seep into the bread, and you will have brown sugar bread. It is amazing.
Okay, sorry, but Hey Would You Blow Me just said he knew a kid in high school that put butter on his Pop-Tarts.
That doesn't sound that bad to me either.
What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Well, margarine. Spread. I'll put spread on some shit. You ain't never fucking... Hold on. You're telling me that you've never taken like a sweet treat, like a donut, cinnamon roll, Pop-Tart, anything like that, warmed it up a bit, threw just a touch. You ain't putting a lot of butter on it.
No,
just putting a touch of butter on it. You've never done that? You are missing out, sir. England is fucked. That's all I got to say.
How is there any people alive in America? Like, you should all have, like, stage 5,000 diabetes.
I mean, yeah, there is a lot of diabetes that goes on. I always just thought it was because people didn't fucking get enough vitamin D.
Man.
I'm just kidding. Plothole says that's a South thing. No, it's not. It's a person who appreciates great tasting toast thing. No, it probably is a Southern thing because we do throw bread on or butter on bread, throw it in the oven again for a few minutes, pull it out when it's all melted and just eat it like that. I can remember as a child truly enjoying tortilla and butter for like meals. I would just sit there and open a package of tortillas, throw a little chunk of a stick of a butter on it, put it in the microwave for 25 seconds, pull it out where the tortilla was still fluffy and super hot, roll it up so the butter melts where it's dripping out the ends, and just use the tortilla to dip in the butter. Ooh, baby, that was so good. But then again, I was like 13, 14 years old and didn't realize that there were steaks at the time I could have been eating.
Yeah, well, if you ever come to Scotland, you'll realise one thing, and that's that we deep fry everything.
Oh yeah,
Everything.
I mean, you're talking to a
No,
Texan.
the team, we deep fry ice cream up here.
Yeah, yeah. Look at the Texas State Fair. What it's known for. One of the things it's known for is its fried foods fair. It's like a fried foods fair. They
Oh.
fry Snickers bars. Let me see. Last year, I'm at the 2019 fried food fair or
I
fried
mean,
food.
fried candy
Fair.
bars are just a normal thing in Scotland, you know? Right.
I mean, I didn't even put in a state, and it said State Fair of
Right,
Texas.
let's ask the chat. Who's the king of frying? Which country is the king of fried food? One for Scotland or two for Texas? I know Texas isn't that country, but you know what I mean.
Oh my God! Best taste for sweet, big red chicken bread. That's fried.
Okay, I'm getting hungry. Stop it.
Fried taco cone.
We got the plot hole for $2 says, "Here's for your face palm protection fund." NASA fund that specifically. It's part of their budget. JL Warren for $1.99 says, "Nice work, guys." Thank you, JL Warren. Always nice that you're here. Rangerman 9404 for $5 says, "My $5 super chat would have sounded better if sung to the tune of Electric Slide by Marcia Griffiths. I don't know who that is or what that song is, so I'm sorry." Crafty Keela for €2 says, "FTFE Team Skeptic 1K achieved. Thanks everyone. That's awesome. You deserve it because you make amazing content." Anthony Purcell for $2 says, "I object. She's clearly not as dumb as Hip Hop Hippie." Who's dumber, Lottie or Hip Hop Dumbass?
Well, she did get 2 of the 3 litmus questions right, so I think she's probably smarter than Hip Hop Hippie, but she's still lacking the critical thinking in the critical thinking department.
Then we've got Horsehead Pete for £2 says, "What is it, Inspector Lottie? It's a Bume?" I'm not sure what that's for. Is that a reference I don't understand? Because I'm sorry, Horsehead Pete. But then we have Excusionate, who has become a new member. Welcome to the Scrappers. Thank you very much. Ronnie Bradford for $5 says, "YouTube never notified me of these streams, but hello from South Australia, COVID-free for 18 days here." Yeah, it's excellent. There's been no new cases in South Australia for 18 days. The exponential growth phase has passed, guys. And if we just don't get all stupid and try and run out all at once, then there shouldn't be a resurgence and we can start getting back to normality.
Okay, so yeah, but it depends on how many people have already been previously infected and whether or not the immune system will develop a immunity to it, like antibodies to it moving forward. There's still a lot of research to be done.
Yeah, there's still a lot of
research
research
to be done. Yeah, because like they've already shown that they believe there's certain patients that have already been reinfected and there was no immunity built up to it. They don't know the total number of people that have already been previously infected right now because we were pretty quick. Even though we could have been quicker, we were pretty quick. Even if only 20% of the population becomes infected, that's still, and no, there's no possible chance of reinfection, that's still 80% of the population that hasn't been infected yet. Yeah. So until we get, it's something that we can't, I know everybody wants to reopen. I know everybody wants to get back to work and I feel you, you know, I mean, even me, I want things to get back to some kind of normalcy, but I don't think we're going to see anything remotely close to normal for quite a while, for at least another 6 months or so.
No, I totally agree. But if everyone just is sensible about it, and I think it'll all be okay. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Translator Carmanian for $5 says, "I eat spaghetti with no marinara sauce, just butter, Parmesan cheese, and bacon bits. I've just finished a bowl right now. I'm not going to lie, that sounds fucking amazing."
Oh yeah, a lot of times if right now they don't have the flavor of ramen I like at the store, but I love ramen. I just love noodles, so a lot of times I'll just buy a ramen, throw some butter in there, put some of my Cajun salt in it, and eat it like that. It's fucking perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's oh man, I'm really hungry, guys. Stop talking about food. Red Cosmos Devil for $5 says, "Fight team. If you could take one flat earther to the ISS, who would it be? Do you think she would change their view? And do you think flat Earth would be over? If I could take one flat earther to the International Space Station,
I'm trying to think who
has the biggest reach?
Accept it? Who would accept it though?
Who would accept it?
Who would not the invitation, but who would accept the actual observation with their own eye?
I don't think taking someone like Jeranism that would be a good idea because a lot of people think that he's a fraud anyway.
Yeah, it can't be a Poe because a Poe you'd be wasting money. It can't be somebody that just wouldn't accept it because they'd be wasting money as well. You can't bring somebody that's a nobody because then they would never get the word out.
I think someone like
community. Ranty, Bob Nodell, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Bob Nodell, but again,
I don't
a lot
think
of people
he's a
think Bob's a
Poe.
Poe.
I don't think Bob's a Poe.
I don't think he is either. I think he's one of the stupidest people on earth.
I think he sees the monetary value in this, but I honestly think that he's not a Poe. I just think he's stupid. He's just a cocky, stupid piece of shit. But I mean, he would probably, if he saw it with his own eyes from space, maybe he might tell everybody else. He told fucking Jeranism that gravity existed. He's hey, call it what you want. You can't deny the fact that gravimeters are measuring something. So you got to, and then Jeranism tried to pull the same bullshit that every flat earther pulls in Bob Nodell because it was Bob putting the evidence. He wasn't having it. Just the same way we don't have it, he wasn't. It's like, you can't deny this. This is like fact, that these machines measure this. It's okay. I'm not saying it's mass attracting mass, but there is something that's attracting something, and we have to explain that. And so that's why I think him in particular, if he went to the ISS and had one day on the ISS where he could see the Earth and its beauty, they could put him outside in a spacesuit, let him do a minor spacewalk so he could see that it's not CGI, bring him back in, he'd come down here, we wouldn't have flat earthers the next day.
Yeah. But to be honest, I don't want to send any flat earther to space because they don't fucking deserve it. If someone's going to the ISS, I'm going.
Send me.
I mean, it'd be a lot more expensive to send me than it would Team.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yo, NASA, check it out. Sending Fight's going to cost you about an extra $1 million, all right? Send me, and you can get away with sending me for the fucking cost of, my volume in air. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally how much you're going to have to pay.
So you're saying if I want to be an astronaut, I need to lose a bunch of weight? Damn.
Yeah, you need to fit in. Yeah. And get a haircut. Get the penis off your head.
No, that's my trademark. Jezekai for $5 says, don't knock it till you try it. Even food can be a science which requires observation and experiment. Pineapple pizza.
And I agree with you. I mean, I have accidentally eaten it before, younger in my adult life, and remember not liking it. But at the same time, who am I to say that that's the same way I feel now? I'm willing to try it. And if Fight the Flat Earth doesn't want to be my friend anymore, that's his loss.
No one's going to be your friend anymore.
I'll fucking fly to Scotland and breathe pineapple on your neck.
That's just evil. Little Miss Betty Page, a.k.a. Tank Girl Junkie, for £2 says, boobs, that is all. Oh, my channel's just got deleted.
Yep. Trying to get that channel deleted.
David Oliver for £5 says, I cook everything in butter, roast potatoes, baked beans, fried eggs. It's better than oil. Roast potatoes have definitely got to be done in butter. You do roast potatoes in butter, make it really, really hot for the first 20 minutes when they go in. You've got to parboil them for about 18, 19 minutes first. And then chuck them into super hot butter in the pan, at like maximum temperature for 20 minutes, and then turn it down to about 150, 160 degrees centigrade for an hour and 20 minutes. Best roast potatoes in the world.
Yeah, I get government butter. That shit doesn't melt.
Government butter.
You just have to get a slice that covers, one big slice that covers the whole pan, heat it up, and cook whatever is on top of that. Butter. Butter plop.
We've got a very important question for you, team, from Ronnie Branford for $2 Australian says, what wine would team match with sugar bread?
Ooh. It's super sweet, so not a sweet wine. It would have to definitely be something a bit more bitter.
Chloroform wine.
Oh. Yeah, no. Oh, no. I do remember I used to drink a good wine called Luna de Luna, and I could imagine that wine would go well with sugar bread, straight up. It is great wine. It's hardly sold anywhere, and I don't even know if they make it anymore. Luna de Luna. It's a Pinot Grigio mixed with or not cross, but I think it's a red wine Pinot Grigio mix. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up real quick. But from my earlier days of drinking wine, I loved it. It was the only wine I would drink.
Yeah, I'm not a wine fan. I pretty much only drink
It's super cheap.
bitter and tequila. Maybe some Jack Daniels.
These motherfuckers got it all over the place in Texas. I'm about to go buy me a bottle tomorrow and get drunk off of it.
Capscar says Buckfast. No, Buckfast is fucking horrific. Oofed. But that is us for tonight, guys. I want to say thank you very, very much for everyone being here and watching whatever just happened. I apologize for inflicting the most denialist of denial Flerfs upon you. But hey, I'll be back later on in the week with hopefully a few episodes of Flerfs Are Idiots that I'm working on. Team, what have you got coming up again?
The Seaman Lady.
Oh, the Seaman Lady. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I'm curious how I'm going to get around having that video demonetized. Like, what can I use in the title? And like, should I only say semen one time and then just have a different word for it the rest of the time? Because they have the bodily fluids thing.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I should be saying semen.
Something. I think you need to make like an extra salty joke of some kind.
Hey, don't ruin my fucking... I have a plan. I have a skit that you guys are going to absolutely shit your pants on involving Kid Skeptic. Yeah.
I mean, what kind of video is this? Shit in your pants, semen? Fuck's sake, man.
Make sure you're not going to post it to your Pornhub's site.
Anthony Purcell for $5 says, with that pineapple breath comment, we learned how easily Team Skeptic slides into supervillain mode.
Yes, you did.
What would be your supervillain name?
Coronatard.
Coronatard. And what would be your superpower?
I'd just breathe on people's necks. Pineapple pizza breath. I just walk up to him and go, Corona. And they just immediately be infected. And
I think you could take down Superman quite easily with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Corona is literally a quarter kryptonite, from what I've seen from scientific studies.
Yeah, it's actually, there's no virus. They gave it all to us to keep us safe against the alien. So that's what it is. It stops the aliens coming here. But anyway, we've had a great fun tonight, guys. I want to say thank you very much for being here. These super chats are amazing. Like, I couldn't keep doing what I do without you guys supporting me in the members and the Patreon and in the super chats. It blows my mind that you keep supporting me. So thank you. If you can't support me financially, then best thing you can do if you want to help the channel is just share it on social media, Twitter and Facebook and all the good stuff. Team, thank you very much for coming on, as always. Remember, guys, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat, fight the flat, fight the flat, fight the flat.